Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. Jane's Addiction and Stop. That's for one of the good eggs on the old Twitter who's having a birthday today. It's 3_days on Twitter. He's a good one. Happy birthday to whatever your real name is. I don't know what your real name is. I just know you as 3_days. And that's how we start with Jane's Addiction and Stop. We got Florentine and we got Norton. What's going on, guys?
I'm just reading up on this Diddy story.
Oh, Diddy is arrested, right?
Yeah, he attacked his son's coach, like in conditioning coach, and I couldn't get the story last night for some reason. They didn't. This is more thorough.
Yeah.
What I'm reading now.
Why did he attack the coach?
I think now it's saying because he worked his son too hard, or the guy had been really tough on his son and was yelling at him and said, "Don't come back till the end of the summer." Maybe he felt he wasn't conditioned enough. I don't know.
Right.
He's not very good. He's played like 7 games in 3 seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
And
What is it, USC, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
UCLA.
Oh, UCLA.
Yeah, he plays for UCLA. I just assumed it was Diddy just being an asshole. I didn't really need to read that article.
It probably
you
is.
just know that Diddy's an asshole. You just know that if you walk around breathing in this world.
Snoop's.
He's trying to attack a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's probably going to kick your ass.
Well, that proves he's an asshole because you're never going to win that
But with
one.
a kettlebell, you might have a shot. That's it swung at him.
I respect that.
But you know who that guy is? That guy's the same guy that used to work for the Jets. Remember that game against the Dolphins where they tripped the guy, the punt returner?
That's the guy?
That's the guy that got fired from the Jets.
Well, he's kind of an asshole too then.
Yeah, he's the one. You remember that story?
I absolutely-
Miami was returning a punt.
Yep.
And the strength and conditioning coach tripped him on the sideline.
Yeah, what a douche.
Did they get rid of him right after that?
Pretty much, yeah.
did,
Yeah. I didn't know it was the same guy.
Same guy, yeah.
Florentine knows his sports. My God. What do you know on this Pete Rose thing? Pete Rose was he was so close to being reinstated, in my opinion. He was getting there. And now they found the notebook. Supposedly the notebook's been around for a while.
Right.
And this notebook proves that Pete Rose absolutely bet as a player, as an active player. So he's fucked. There's no way now that they're going to even consider it anymore.
Yeah, because that was the one thing he had going for him, because he always said he never bet on baseball when he was playing.
Yeah.
It was when he was a manager.
And now this notebook proves that that is indeed false.
Whose notebook is it?
Let's see. The documents, where are we?
It's his bookie.
Huh?
It was his bookie's notebook.
Oh.
They had it from back in the day. It was in evidence, and they just could never get it out. It's been in there since like 1989.
Why couldn't they get it out?
I don't know. It was some freedom of information thing. I don't know what. No, the press wasn't allowed to get it.
Because it also had information on people who weren't part of the investigation. So I think it has something to do with implicating people that, aren't part of what they were investigating.
Okay, so they didn't. The other names in there. Now
Yeah,
they
like-
got them.
Yeah,
Because it was a mail
it was a mail fraud
case.
Like that's how the book was
Yeah.
taken. It wasn't seized because of the Pete Rose investigation.
Oh, this happens to be his bookie, and his name happens to be in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was connected to organized crime.
Yeah, horrible luck for Pete Rose. For 26 years, the notebook has remained under court-ordered seal and is currently stored in the National Archives New York office, where officials have declined requests to release it publicly. Not no more. And now this thing proves he bet on games as he was an active player.
Yeah, what did they get? Like, who got that, and what exactly did they use to get it? Was it a freedom of information thing?
No. That's how it was denied repeatedly. Freedom of information denied. And Outside the Lines got a copy of a memo that had pages of that attached, and they have copies of the notebook now.
The entire notebook?
Yeah. I don't think they saw the actual notebook. They saw copies of pages.
And it's been authenticated, right? Which I did see.
Yeah.
But it's the whole notebook. Which was a marvelous movie, if you guys want to switch gears. So they have the whole...
no, I think it was just a few pages with Pete Rose or
Yeah,
the
they have
bookie
the-
writing
they have the pages
Pete
that
plus 2,000 on the Reds against the Mets, stuff like that, just written in
Yeah.
handwriting. I saw a copy of it somewhere. Yeah,
He was
there
a
it is.
terrible
up there. Yeah.
gambler. He lost so much money.
Why was he a terrible gambler?
I don't know. He just sucked. He was always down. He lost like 15 grand in one day.
Oh, God, Petey.
I don't know what the difference is. If when he was a player manager, he admitted that he bet on baseball, but he said he always bet to win
Yeah.
on the Reds.
No.
So I don't know what the difference.
No, it was only he only admitted when he was just a manager, not a player manager.
Okay, so all right, just a manager, but then so maybe he keeps the starting pitcher in longer. Maybe he keeps a guy that's not, So he has an advantage that too. I don't see what the difference is if he's playing. I mean, playing, he could play third base.
Yeah, because
if he bets against his team, he can let a ball go through his legs.
Right.
Second and third, 2-run score.
Yeah, if you're the manager and you're betting to win every time, I mean, that's your job anyway, to try to win every single game.
But does the manager, at one point, does he bring in another relief pitcher that shouldn't be in keep him in for 2 or 3 innings and not worry about the next day, burn this guy out because he wants to win this game? So it's still, either way.
You're kind of right, because you have to think about those things as far as the long haul goes.
I think the argument,
but if he's got so much money in that particular game, he gets a little more desperate. All of a sudden, he's pulling like maybe a starting pitcher.
Absolutely, and put him in the 7th inning. Like, why is he bringing Don Gullett in the 7th inning? He's pitching
Don Gullett. A Don Gullett reference.
Yeah. He was,
good place to put cum.
I think the concern, though, is that if Pete Rose loses a lot of money like he did, that the bookie then, or the organized crime people say, okay, we'll be square, but I need you to do a favor for me. And then the integrity of baseball is screwed.
And the argument's always been, well, he bet on baseball when he was a manager, and he's going into the Hall of Fame as a player. Mm-hmm. So why should your managerial decisions affect what you did as a player?
Okay.
That's been the argument.
But if he did it as a player, it's different.
But if he did it as a player, it's
ball
different.
of wax.
Yeah, that's.
They also said that if he put like $5,000 on the Reds to win, then the bookies see that he put that bet in. They go, there must be something going on. He must know something for this game. Maybe the starting pitcher for the other team isn't playing, and he knows before the game, and it's not announced. So then all the bets will go on his side, on Pete's side. So
he's got certainly some inside info.
Yeah.
Hit King strikes out. That's the headline on Fox and Friends.
You know he did as a player. I mean, if you're a compulsive gambler, how do you not do it when you're playing?
Yeah, Rose bet on baseball as player and manager. Unlucky bet is the headline.
You think he wants to choke the person who released those?
Oh, God, he was getting close. They were starting to be a little more accepting.
Yeah, and I think the All-Star game is in Cincinnati this year, and they were going to let Pico be part of the festivities for the first time.
That's what I mean. They were getting closer and closer.
Yeah,
to
and this new commissioner's not uptight like Bud Selig.
Yeah.
Who was a complete dick.
He was awful, wasn't he?
Yeah. And this new guy's like a cool guy. He's like, hey, whatever. He even might want to shorten the season. He's like, it's way too long. Bud Selig never wanted to do that. 162 games. It's people, it's already July and or June and people are bored of baseball.
They gotta shorten the season.
Yeah.
That would fuck up all the records, but,
Well, it used to be 154 games. They shortened it at least 8 games.
But they gotta shorten it a lot.
I think he was only talking about going back to 154.
There's too much money involved.
What year did you want like a 60-day season?
Huh?
That's what you want. You want like a 60-day season.
I think a good 100-game season would be amazing. Are you? Of course, in every sport. Imagine hockey.
100 games of hockey?
Well, no, hockey would have to be. Yeah, no, I know that. Hockey would have to be, I don't know, like 50 games, 60 games.
I think the NFL should play a baseball schedule.
Oh, my God.
162 football games.
Oh, my God.
Doubleheaders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doubleheaders. Oh, God. Can you imagine what those teams would look like after a month of trying to do that? Wow. How many games a week would that be? How many football games a week? How many baseball games a week they play?
They play like 6 a week.
Imagine your NFL team plays 6 games a week.
I mean, there's stretches where teams don't have a day off for 3 weeks.
We would be exhausted. The fans would be exhausted by that.
Yeah. I think that baseball plays like 162 games in 185 days or 186 days.
Just too, in this day and age, I've said it for years, it's just too much. It'd be way more exciting you knock that down to 100 games. Are you kidding me? But, the money, they would have to figure out how to make up all that money. But the game itself would be so, you would get a lot more fans, I think. I really think you would. But Pete Rose denied this for 26 years, and now.
What's the proof, though? It just says Pete.
It's his hand. It's the guy's handwriting.
The bookie.
He's known as Pete Rose's bookie.
But how does he know it's only Pete? Like, there's a million Pete. We know it's him.
Yeah.
But where's the proof that that's Pete Rose?
I mean, I guess technically there is no proof, but this is.
It just says Pete. It doesn't even say Pete Rose. It just says Pete.
This is as.
Why wouldn't the bookie just use some kind of nickname
Maybe he is for somebody.
and help out Pete?
The bottom line is, it's Pete Rose, but if all they have is the word Pete,
that's all they need.
But I mean,
yeah, he might be able to get out of it. He's got to meet with the commissioner like next week about it.
It could be a fucking fake name for somebody else, unless they have the bookie writing.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll just take his word for it.
Well,
I mean, there's no.
do
But
they,
it's not
Pete's a
Pete's
believable
it's
guy.
not Pete's handwriting. No, it's the
bookie's
bookies.
handwriting,
and is the bookie still alive?
Yeah.
Does he have Pete Rose as Pete as a manager?
I don't know.
Okay, like I want, like, can they say this is exactly how he referred?
I love
to
that
you?
you're sticking up for the fact that it's possible that Pete couldn't have done this.
I'm not saying he couldn't have done it, but I'm saying is that all they have is just the word Pete is not enough. It's scribbled in a notebook.
It's Pete Rose.
Yeah, I think it's
Sometimes you
circumstantial
just
evidence
know.
goes. This is like as
Yeah.
good to almost proof that you have.
I kind of think it's bad also that Pete Rose has not said anything about this.
Well, he said he won't.
Yeah.
He because he's going to talk to Manfred. Like he said that he won't comment on anything about ever gambling because he's going to have this reinstatement conversation.
Yeah,
The
Probably
new
is.
commissioner basically said to shut your mouth. Let's meet and we'll see if we can figure this out. Don't go on any radio shows. Don't start talking about it. And
Yeah, it's good for
because he
baseball.
always makes headlines whenever he goes on
And
shows.
it's kind of good for baseball when, if you reinstate the guy. That would be great for baseball, wouldn't it be?
Most people don't care.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he would still have to get voted in
By who?
by
The writers.
No, by the players.
No writers.
Right? He would go to the writers.
Maybe I don't know at this point because he's
Yeah, I
been.
don't know. I guess that's never happened.
It's
Would they vote him
probably
in,
the
or-
writers. There's a committee and
There's like
Yeah.
a veterans committee.
Veterans
It's
committee, I think
committee.
we would
wonder
have to
if
go
it would-
through.
Yeah. And who
think
knows
vote
if
him
he
in?
would have enough
it's these
support.
old cranky sports writers that hate every record that's been broken over the last 50 years.
They like Pete, though, don't they?
But the integrity of the game,
No, they don't like Pete.
Yeah, I mean they
all of
haven't
that
even-
stuff.
They don't give Bonds. I mean, he's not even close.
Bonds,
There's no
Clemens,
guarantee that
Palmeiro.
even if he was reinstated, he would get voted in.
It's true.
You know,
Let's try to get Pete Rose on the phone today.
Yeah.
We had him once. I don't know if he'll ever come back. He had such a good time here, too.
Yeah.
So is this it now for Pete? Pete's done?
I don't know yet. We'll see.
We don't know. I would have to. I would guess it absolutely. He's
How
gone.
many pages of Pete do they have?
it's like 4 or 5.
With a lot of Pete's in it?
A lot
like-
of Pete's.
Like he bet at least 20.
Did it say Pete R? That's different.
No.
Okay.
But even if it was Pete R, who knows? The guy could have been Pete Rose could have been his favorite baseball player, and he put it under his code for his buddy Pete R. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, even though you know it is Pete Rose, that's not proof enough. It just says fucking Pete.
What?
A mafia bookie. There's a million.
They don't.
Pete's.
They don't need proof though. Like this is just bad enough
No,
for
but I mean-
Manfred to say, you know what? No.
But I mean, Petey and a fucking mafia is not exactly a rare name.
Is the bookie one to babble, or is he going to try to keep his mouth
Well, he's
shut?
kept his mouth shut for a long time, right?
Yes, he has. So maybe if the bookie just keeps his mouth shut, maybe I don't know.
What has the bookie said?
I don't think
Is he in
anything.
jail?
He
don't
went to
know.
jail. He went to jail for like 18 months or something like that.
And he's kept his mouth shut all this time?
I think so. I mean,
That's a fucking mobster.
Because I think he only went to jail for the mail fraud case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Rose is fucked. Let's be honest. In the time covered in the notebook from March through July, Rose bet on at least one Major League Baseball team on 30 different days. It's impossible to count the exact number of times he bet on baseball games because not every day's entries are legible. So he bet a lot. He's
that's what gamblers do.
yeah, exactly. So that's a huge story today. Poor
Jim,
Pete
I would
Rose.
also assume that there was a running tally of everyone that was betting and what they owed and what they were making, and that probably lines up with Pete's other confirmed, proven bets.
Okay, well then
You
that's
know?
different. That's definitely more of a connection than just Pete.
Well, if he didn't, if he only bet on the Reds to win, if he bet on the Reds to lose, you could definitely see he could throw a game easily.
Yeah.
But if you bet on, that's going to move the line. What if he's betting $5,000 for the Reds to win? But how can he affect the outcome of that game betting on the Reds to win?
I agree with
There's
you.
nothing more he can do.
But
There's 9 players on the field.
they just don't want you betting on
But it affects
games if you're a player.
Yeah, just let everybody else bet. And
It
everybody,
affects-
yeah.
It
And put
affects the-
injury reports out there and everything else for all the gamblers.
right.
it affects the next games. Just like you said, if he leaves a reliever in for 3 innings.
Well, this is when I'm talking about when he was a player.
Oh, right.
Like just as a player, how can he can't affect the outcome of a game if he's betting the win?
Right.
Absolutely. Because that's your job, to win every game or try to win every game. Still, they just don't want you fucking betting on baseball if you're a player or
Yeah.
a manager.
This doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good for Pete Rose. This Confederate flag thing, what's going to happen? Everyone's talking about the Confederate flag, hate or heritage. You decide.
They're going to take it down.
Of course they're going to take it
Once
down.
the governor weighs in, who had defended it, They should take it down. It's just enough already with it. It's a fucking stupid thing. You lost the war. You're embarrassing yourselves. If that's what your whole heritage is tied into, the shitty flag you flew and that you raised to give the middle finger to desegregation, just shut up.
Well, they'll take the flag down, and then the world will be a perfect place. All our problems will be solved. So,
I do agree.
So that'll be great. I didn't realize it was as easy as just taking the flag down, and then racism and everything else will go away. So
they should have done this years ago, though. Like the fact that they're doing it now in this big moment. It's like, you assholes. Where was it? Where was this 50 years ago? This should have been off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Why did it come up now? I missed the very
because of the kid.
Right.
Your mic's not working there, Justin.
It isn't?
Not really. So, yeah. I mean, the kid goes into the church, kills the people, and now we take down the flag, and now everything's okay with the world.
Well, the picture of him holding the flag didn't help.
No.
That was the big key with it, too.
And now they're saying, will Mississippi be next? Now they're pointing at Mississippi, going, now it's looking like South Carolina is going to do this. Now, Mississippi, it's going to be your turn next. So now they're just going to pressure everybody to get rid of the Confederate flag.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that love the Confederate flag. The majority of which are not racist. It's not about everyone who likes it's a racist, but everyone knows what it symbolizes and why it went back up
in 1961 in that state.
Yeah. Everyone knows that.
In Mississippi is a little different because the Confederate flag is in their flag. It's in their state flag.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
South Carolina just flies the flag, You
know what state flags look like, Travis?
I know what Mississippi's looks like because it's in the news.
Yeah, okay.
What's the Mississippi one?
Let me see what the Mississippi... That's what the state of Mississippi's flag looks like. I had no idea until this very moment.
Yeah, I didn't know what any of the state flags look like.
So the Confederate flag is absolutely within their state flag. Well, that makes it a lot tougher. They have to change the whole flag.
Yeah.
Charleston massacre sparks Confederate flag debate. Yes, it has. And the pressure is getting to South Carolina, and they will absolutely take the flag down. That's pretty obvious now.
It is kind of, it makes you really glad this kid didn't kill himself, because now he has to see that what he really wanted to do just completely backfired. Mm-hmm. And he's going to have to live in prison for a long time. And he may get used to it. Of course you do. But, there's just no way it's a pleasant experience. When Damien Echols, we had him, and he talked about what it was like on death row. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a horrible existence.
Right. Well, we'll see.
If you're dead, you don't know it. You're just gone.
Right.
You went out doing what you wanted to do.
It's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier than fucking 20 years or 16 years on death row. Let him find God. Let him. He's got to shit in that same awful toilet and look out that same cell. It's good. Let him.
Over and over.
Over and over again. Yeah, the redundancies.
He didn't start a race war like he wanted.
No, they're just taking the flag down. Like, oh yeah, this thing is like, we don't want it to be associated anymore. I think that's enough. He closed the book on the flag. Fucking asshole. He wanted to start a race riot, and the whole country just went, yeah, you know what? Let's
stupid.
We're done with this both flag. Let's just take this down. We're finished.
Oh, you reminded us of some things. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, Walmart pulled anything with the Confederate flag out of their stores.
Yeah, they don't want it.
They don't want anything.
Good old Walmart.
People will still, they'll still be able to buy it, and it shouldn't be illegal to have it or to fly it in your home,
right.
But just the state.
Well, let's go to the clip. The South Carolina governor calls for the Confederate flag to be removed. So we got this clip for the.
Oh my God, she's being attacked. Oh, okay, they're with her. Sorry.
The hate-filled murderer who massacred our brothers and sisters in Charleston has a sick and twisted view of the flag. In no way does he reflect the people in our state who respect and in many ways revere it.
Why do they got to read this shit?
Those South Carolinians view the flag as a symbol of respect, integrity, and duty. We respect freedom of expression, and that for those who wish to show their respect for the flag on their private property, no one will stand in your way. But the State House is different, and the events of this past week call upon us to look at this in a different way. 15 years ago, after much contentious debate, South Carolina came together in a bipartisan way to move the flag from atop the Capitol dome. Today, we are here in a moment of unity in our state, without ill will, to say it's time to move the flag from the Capitol grounds. There will be some in our state who see this as a sad moment. I respect that. But know this. For good and for bad, whether it is on the State House grounds or in a museum, The flag will always be a part of the soil of South Carolina. But this is a moment in which we can say that that flag, while an integral part of our past, does not represent the future of our great state.
God, I would love to take the script away from her.
Just go look.
And see what she could say about the Confederate flag.
Look, we're taking
and
the flag
people
down.
of South Carolina, right?
We're taking some ass, that asshole shot up 9 people. We're taking the flag down. Too fucking bad. If you want to keep it in your house or hanging outside your house, it's fine, but it's coming down here.
Right.
There you go.
I would be impressed by that instead of some.
That's all you got to do.
Some dopey.
So you know the
just
reason
reading.
why we're taking the flag down. All right. I don't want to. Don't write me letters.
Right.
You understand why.
That's why Trump.
I hate these politicians. They stink.
Yeah, but then but the reason they do that though is because then you get a guy like Trump, who kind of goes a little bit off
script.
Yeah, and he says things that people are annoyed at, and they go after you for it. Or if you're a politician, if she said the wrong thing, or used the wrong inflection. Obama said nigger, and it's all they're talking about.
Yeah.
So we've we've kind of trained them that go ahead, make one fucking verbal trip, say it wrong, and we're all over you.
But I truly don't know what this broad thinks.
She's for it. She's for the flag.
No, but that's someone else's words. Like, I want to hear it from your mouth, not you just reading something that a whole bunch of people got in a room and said, okay, here is the perfect script and the perfect wording of what we need to do with this Confederate flag. I hate that shit. Yeah. Just go up there and talk about it. Have some bullet points, maybe. Go in a room with your people and go, all right, here are my bullet points that I got to hit on, and then go out there and talk about it. Right?
Yep.
That was a nonsense speech.
Yeah.
We hit the streets yesterday. Adrian went out there to talk to the people about the Confederate flag. we got 3 quick clips.
Yeah.
So you want to go to those next?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the first clip. It's Vontae. Looks like it's Vontae gives a history lesson on the Reconstruction. Who's got, you got those, Travis?
I'm sorry. I'm still used to you having CDs.
I know. I'd like to have my CD player back.
Well, you said you didn't want it anymore.
Well, no, they convinced me not to.
I could put it on the list.
Put it on the list, Justin.
All right.
All right.
Bronte.
All right, here we go. So Adrian hit the streets. Where'd you go, Adrian? Times Square?
Times Square, yeah.
Because why take a subway to another part of the city, right? When you can just walk out of the building every time and throw a mic in someone's face.
That's right.
You felt you get a good cross section of people there, right? Tourists and New Yorkers and blacks and whites and more blacks.
That's right.
You should have went uptown.
Yeah, it would be great if we sent them uptown.
Yeah, you should have went into Harlem.
We got some sort of email.
Harlem's getting safer.
Yeah.
What?
If we got some sort of email that we sent him uptown and he died.
Harlem's all right.
I'll go up.
You'll be all right in Harlem.
Yeah, he's Cuban.
So here's Vontae, I think. Vontae gives a history lesson on the Reconstruction.
Vontae.
What do you think about the Confederate flag?
Well, the Confederate flag was used during the time of the Reconstruction at the time because the troops went in to protect the slaves that were emancipated so they could run business and start to do for themselves. When the Great Compromise took place in 1877, the Confederate flag stayed in its place, meaning Reconstruction, but at the same time it was to put free slaves under what they call the Jim Crow laws.
So do you think that people should be allowed to fly the Confederate flag?
Not necessarily if they're using it for wrong purposes, no, but if they know what the essence of where the Confederate flag, how it really began. The Confederate flag was the reconstruction of the South when they lost to the North, because the South was a sovereign state.
Well, for the most part today, the Confederate flag is used by racists.
Yes, it is, because see, now the North and the South were considered as one. If they understood the essence of the Confederate flag and they were able to explain it to me in its essence, in its infancy, then I wouldn't mind it. But if they're just being immature and saying, down with blacks, down with Hispanics and all that, then I would say that they're the ones that are being ignorant.
What if they were yelling like white power, stuff like that?
They were what?
If they were yelling white power and that kind of stuff.
Well, then they're going back to Nazi Germany.
Fair.
All right. Yeah. Vontae, listen to the Elvis impersonator in Times Square.
All right, what's your name?
Elvis. Thank you very much.
What do you think about the Confederate flag?
I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care?
I don't care what they do with it.
You don't feel like it's a hateful symbol?
No, I don't. Equal rights.
You believe in equal rights?
Yeah.
Which also makes you a supporter of the Confederate flag?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think that the Confederate flag is hateful or anything like that?
No, I don't. It's on the General Lee.
So how does that make it not hateful?
It's not evil.
So because the Confederate flag was on the General Lee, it's totally cool.
Yep.
Would you fly one at your place?
Yep.
Do you fly the Confederate flag?
No, I do not.
But you would?
Yep.
So you think anyone should be able to fly it?
Yep. The Ducha Hazard, it was on the General Lee. What's the big deal? Get over it.
Yeah, he makes a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's good enough for the Dukes of Hazzard,
Right.
it's good enough for everybody else.
They did blackface years ago on television, so I guess following that,
Yeah.
I guess it's okay to do that now.
All right, and then finally, Lalo.
Lalo definitely has an opinion.
Lalo has an opinion.
He's very passionate.
Cool guy and cool philosophy on life.
That's right.
The final clip from Times Square.
What's your name? Laylo. All right, Laylo, what do you think about the Confederate flag?
Fuck the Confederate flag. They should have never had the Confederate flag nowhere around here. Not in the South, not in the East, not in the West, nowhere. I don't condone it. I'm not a firm believer of the Confederate flag.
Do you think people should be allowed to fly the flag at all?
Nah, not no Confederate flag. The Confederate flag is used for one thing, that's hate. I ain't about hate. We ain't about hate. You know what I'm talking about?
Good. So, what do you think about President Obama recently used the N-word in an interview? What do you think about that?
He's not a real nigga. I don't even fuck Obama. Honestly, my personal opinion, Obama's not a real nigga. I don't even know why the fuck he was named the first African-American black fucking president. He's not a nigga.
Why isn't he real?
Cause look at, I'm a nigga. This is a fucking nigga. His hair's curly. He don't have that wool sandy shit like we got. Know what I mean? Fuck Obama. Fuck him.
We should give that guy a show here like Friday afternoon.
And I know some people that really would disagree with his assessment of Obama. If he indeed is.
I love that he's not black enough for some of the black people. He's just not black enough. Oh my God, Lalo's all right.
Yeah, he's a musician.
He's not condoming it.
Condoming it. Yeah. He's not condoming it. All right. Oh. All right, well, the phones are lit on the Confederate flag. Let's say hi to Kevin in South Carolina, where all this is going down. Kevin, what do you got, buddy?
Good morning, Opie, Jen, and Jim.
Good morning.
Hey, I've been here 8 years. I'm originally from New Jersey, so I would never fly a Confederate flag. But I get it. I understand the whole heritage thing. But I think they're going to take that flag down. That business is gone. But I see a backlash. I see a lot of pissed off South Carolinians buying a Confederate flag now or buying a Confederate flag decal for their car. You're going to see them everywhere now because people are just going to be like, wait a minute, this is what we're going to do. I'll show you. So,
yeah, they should be able to. They should be able to fly it on their property, and
right.
You can't ban it.
Yeah, they're not going to ban the flag.
No.
I mean, you could do whatever you want with the Confederate flag. It's just that at the State House, they're going to absolutely get rid of it.
I understand why people are annoyed at seeing it there, but I also understand if, like it or not, it is part of South Carolina history, and I know the whole Nazi flag thing, but I don't know. If you live here, you kind of get it. You know what I mean?
So what happens? They take the flag down. Then what happens? Racism is solved, or
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
All right.
It'll
If
end
it solves
up-
racism, I say I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's
When is racism solved? By tomorrow, or we give it a day and then it'll be solved by Thursday or Friday of this week?
October 1st.
October 1st? All right. We take the flag down and racism is good by October 1st. I'm in.
Hey, could I get Florentine a compliment?
Yes.
Hey, I don't like metal. I'm not a big metal fan. So whenever I see that metal show, I stop and watch. That's good TV,
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
That's like a really good compliment.
His three guys hanging out talking. That was me 30 years ago. So good for you guys.
What happened to you, sir?
All right, buddy. Let's go
He
to
writed
Florida.
his life. That 30 years later, he's still not talking about Judas Priest. He's got a life. That's why.
He never really was into metal, though, but he watches
No,
you guys.
a lot of people do. A lot of people, like, guys get their wives into the show. The wives aren't even the metal. Like, I would just watch, just kind of learn shit. I'm like, what are you learning from us?
Because you guys got good chemistry on that show. It's a good show. Let's say hi to Mike in Florida. Mikey.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
I just wanted to say, I haven't heard you guys talk about it too much or anybody. Clearly, the guy, the shooter, absolute nut job, and I definitely don't agree with him and why he did that. but he kind of has some points in his stupid manifesto, like the Trayvon Martin thing. Like, there's a point to that. Like, the media absolutely spun that as this horrible, horrible thing, and it's this awful atrocity, while ignoring all the black on white crime. And now that's not even being spoken about. Everybody's talking about a stupid fucking flag. Like, the guy, like I said, absolute nut job, but he's got a point about that. And now all we're talking about is taking down a stupid flag. Like, how does that make sense?
Well, it's hard to. First of all, why would you even read his manifesto? Like what does he say that's interesting? Who cares what he thinks? But you know what I mean? If a guy goes out and does that, here's why I did it, guys, is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. I'm not interested in his motives. You know, he should just be killed.
Well, but then by that, like, the media, by and large, is portraying the motive as the Confederate flag. And now the Confederate flag is the motive. So everyone's wrapping their head around that, saying, okay, and like Opie's been kind of busting balls on, if we get rid of the Confederate flag, then that was clearly the reason this fucking idiot did it. So we take the flag out of the equation, and now that's no longer a problem.
We're gonna have
that's also misrepresented.
Well, that drives me nuts. We're going to have the exact same problems in this country, but everyone's going to be rallying around, oh, my God, we got to get rid of this flag. Okay, we get rid of it. Then what?
I think
we're going to have the same shit going on in this country.
I think it's more glaring that he did. Like, I don't think people think that this is going to solve it. And you're right. The media, the way they report black on white, they report the crimes, but the way they report the racial angle is disgusting. And we've been saying it for years. They're awful. Even if he said that and he's right about it, good for him. Mm-hmm. The media stinks. I think this is just people look at this and go, fuck, man, enough with the flag. We're just tired of looking at it.
Especially when those pictures surfaced with him holding the flag. That's, that was the big thing where people were like, all right, this guy's holding the flag. Look what he did. We got to get rid of it, especially, at the government office. If someone wants to hang it in a house, let him fucking hang it in a house, outside the house or whatever. You deal with it.
It was even like a day later, you looked at the Daily News and some guy in the Bronx got almost beat to death by people, and I don't know what they look like, because even though the guy survived and was in the hospital, of course there was not a description to be had.
Yeah, the media stinks, dude. Dude, they're terrible. Terrible.
It is, and I agree. And Jim, a couple years ago, you first started kind of pointing that out, and that's what made me start, whenever I read a story like that now, I always notice that there's absolutely never a description. But
and we all know, if it's white on black, the media cannot wait to report
when
that.
CNN, when I was following this thing on Twitter when it first happened, it took a while to actually get on the TV, but I saw it on Twitter right away. Within like 20 minutes, they said a white male wearing Timberland boots, like right off the bat.
Oh, they can't get that out there quick enough.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
And that was my point, Jim. And, I don't give a fuck about this guy's manifesto, but that doesn't mean that, you look at this kid or guy, I won't call him a kid, but 3 years ago, when the Trayvon Martin thing happened, he's 17 or 18, and he's living in South Carolina, and he's getting beat to shit by the media, railing about this horrible, horrible white-on-black crime. Like, I'm not giving him a pass at all, but you can kind of see where this would fuck somebody's head up and say, like, what the fuck is this? How come this is so misrepresented? How come this is so lopsided against white people when black people are doing this shit all the time? And that is absolutely not being spoken about.
Yeah, I can see why you look at the media and feel that way about the press. Absolutely. But you can't look at the country and feel that way. You can't be white living in this country and feel bad for yourself. I mean, to be real honest, it's silly. If you I'm a white guy, I don't go like I'm a victim in the country. The press just sucks. Absolutely. And the press refuses to take responsibility for their part and stuff. Like Brian Williams to me is everything the press is. You know what I mean? He's just a guy who says what he wants to say. They can't get rid of him, so they move him somewhere. But to me, he was a great fucking representative of what the press is. Just a liar. And that's what they are. So you come to accept that, but
yeah.
Right. So the only other thing I wanted to add, it was actually funny. I was watching CNN when this whole Trayvon Martin angle first broke on Sunday morning. And I don't know who, it wasn't Don Lemon, it was the other, it was the black guy on CNN. He kind of read it as the caption, and then right after he read what he had written, he went, well, whatever that means. So it's like, what do you mean whatever that means? Like he was almost like, I don't know how he could possibly think that we're, not reporting the facts as they are and we're trying to spin anything. It was just absolutely despicable. Here this guy writes, like, yes, I was brainwashed because watching how the media only reports white on black crime. And then the mouthpiece for CNN, like, shook his head and he was like, oh, Whatever he means by that, I couldn't even possibly understand.
But you can't blame any of that. Again, you can't blame any of that shit for the reason a little piece of shit like this does this. Any more than you can blame, there was a couple of loud kids in the yard, and that's why Daniel Alonzo walked in and shot a bunch of kids. The reasons these fucking people do this stuff is always irrelevant to me. Mm-hmm. It's like, why did someone drunk drive and then aim at a family and hit them? Who cares? The fucking problem was that he was drunk driving to begin with. This fucking, once science can weed these mentally ill nothings out, and I don't mean everyone with mental illness, I'm fucked up too. But the people like this, once DNA can weed them out, we won't have to deal with this anymore.
Good point.
They'll be flushed out of the fucking womb like they should be.
All right, Mike. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, good phone call.
So irritating.
Yeah.
No one's talking about that.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is? When you say mental illness, people think you're giving them a cop-out and an excuse.
Yeah.
Like mental illness, it doesn't mean like he couldn't help himself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean that. And I think that when you talk about it, people assume you're trying to give the guy an out, and that's not what
No, not at all.
it means.
It's got to be talked about.
Look at him with his gun. Sorry, and his fucking flag and his looking over his sunglasses, and they can't print this picture enough. Look at the anti-hero.
Yeah. Let's say hi to JW in Houston.
Oh, where's the E in that name?
Hey,
Go ahead.
Adrian's Man on the Street segment had the first caller, or first gentleman, who gave the complete wrong. The flag was from Reconstruction, the Great Compromise of 1877, of which nothing had to do with the Civil War. That flag is actually one of Lee's corps from the Army of Northern Virginia. It was never the official Confederate flag. It was a battle flag. The official Confederate flag looks like it, but it doesn't look exactly like that. Then, Reconstruction, a whole different aspect of the war. The war was over, so the flag wasn't flying during Reconstruction because the South lost the war. And then when the flag went up in 1861, 100th anniversary of the Civil War starting, South Carolina is where the war started. So they had this heritage of being the state that wants to be kind of, we like to do our own thing the way we want to do it. The problem with the flag as part of heritage is lots of states actually fly it in different ways, respecting the heritage. Look at Texas. Texas likes to brag about the Six Flags over Texas. Mexico, Texas, Confederacy, the French, and the United States. It's on the State House, the emblems of the different entities that reigned over Texas at some point. However, we don't fly the flag on the state ground saying, hey, we used to be part of this country, blah, blah, blah. South Carolina says that's our flag because we used to represent that group, that entity. So there's a little history on the flag, and it's not the actual Confederate flag.
How close? What's the difference between that and the actual Confederate flag?
Very similar. The actual Confederate flag had the stars and bars in the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah.
It was either all white or it had a red banner, a red stripe on the far right-hand side. That was called the bloody banner to represent the sacrifice. That's how ingrained that kind of mentality. And you got to realize, again, South Carolina started the war. They were the first state to secede, and they seceded over states' rights. And that issue goes back 30, 40 years. It goes back into the 1830s. South Carolina was whining and I don't want to say whining, complaining, arguing that the federal government had too much power. That does not mean that the Civil War was not about slavery, because it was about slavery. But they were arguing that we don't like that the federal government can come in and tell us what to do. Hey, does that sound familiar to today? Because lots of states think the federal government has too much power.
Sure.
And that's a great conversation to have about whether the federal government has too much power, but whether or not you can own other people. That's where your argument falls apart. Oh, well, yeah, I wish I could own a few people, too, because my house needs to get clean.
Well, it's interesting about states' rights, like when it comes to gay marriage and all that stuff, and we just want the right to... It's like the states are complaining that the government has too much power when the government is saying, we want your citizens to be able to do this, and the state's going, well, we don't.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's what annoys me about all this fucking rambling about states have to have, well, the government's, too controlling when it tells them that they have to let gays marry. So the government's trying to tell people they can do what they want to do, and you, the state, are saying no.
Right.
Well, go back to Constitution, though, because in the Constitution, and I don't know my Constitution to say what article and what section number, but there is a section that says that either of these rights laid out for the federal government that are not specified remain in the state's hands. So the founders were very careful to say we don't want a completely dominant federal government that will decide for everybody. We want certain things left up to states. Now, are there things that the federal government should decide for everybody? Of course. Slavery is one of them. safety reasons, the national defense, things like that. Maybe marriage is one of those things the federal government needs to have a say in. But you get, a bunch of knuckle dragger mouth breathers who think that, they don't want to get told what to do because somebody, who lives 1,000 miles from them has a different opinion. Well, sometimes that different opinion is a better opinion than yours, but the South doesn't always think that way.
Yeah.
South is very, and you see this in the West too. You got to remember, a lot of these people who are flying the Confederate flag are out in some bunker in Idaho. It's not just the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you know so much about this, JW?
I'm a history nerd.
Well, shit, I learned more about the flag today than watching the news for the last 12 hours.
Well, of course you will, because the news doesn't report anything. They just talking.
It's just one soundbite that they just play over and over and over again.
Okay.
That's all you get.
You want to know the best example of what the news is? It's an old Don Henley song, Dirty Laundry.
I know the Dirty Laundry.
Oh, I like Boys of Summer a lot.
I like Heart of the Matter.
Boys of Summer is the best song. Get Over It's not a good song.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Thank you, JW.
Thanks, man.
What about The End of the Innocence?
I don't know.
It's a good one.
End of the Innocence.
It's a good song.
Bubbleheaded Bleach Blonde comes on at 5, right?
Yeah, Dirty Laundry.
That's Dirty Laundry.
Yeah.
Wow, that guy gave us a history lesson. I hope there's no pop quiz. I would fucking fail. You want more on this? Every phone.
Yeah, people want to talk about it.
Let's go to Rob in Virginia. Let's go, Rob. What do you got?
Yes, my biggest thing that I have is it's not only the Confederate flag issue, it's not only the issue of what we have with the mental illness and everything else like that, but he murdered a U.S. senator. Why isn't that being talked about?
I don't think it's not being talked about. Like, what do you think people are avoiding? I mean, people have said it, but you're right. You are right. It's not the dominant thing. What's that?
It's literally an assassination. That is the actual. It's an assassination of a federal person in charge, and it seems like that whole topic is just being missed.
Oh, okay. Is that the guy he was actually gunning for? Or is that was the one guy he wanted to kill?
The preacher, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why that's not being talked about.
Okay. Well,
I hadn't thought about it, to be honest. Just personally, someone talking about it, I hadn't thought about it in that context. It's like, because you're thinking about it. I guess he wasn't a famous enough politician where it would be like, it's not like it was a governor or somebody that everybody knew.
Yeah.
On the national level, because most people didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So he's just one of the 9.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rob, for adding that. Eric in West Virginia. Eric.
Yeah, did you notice the next day after this shooting, there was another mass shooting? No one discussed it. No one talked about the color. 1 killed, 9 wounded in a drive-by. But drive-bys have become so common, we don't talk about them as mass shootings at all. Now, the guy was a shitty shooter, and he only got 1 out of 9, but the other 8, one of them was an 11-month-old baby. This is where the media doesn't want to talk honestly about what the definition of a mass shooting is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the media does stink, dude. I'm not going to argue with you. They're horrible and they're biased, and most of them are fucking guilty white people.
But I think this other story is a much more dramatic story. It's a bigger story for the news to report.
They also want a body count. If there's only 1 killed,
Right.
even if it's white,
They wouldn't have covered it more if it had been 7 shot in that drive-by.
You're right. They wouldn't
have.
have.
Another drive-by.
This is in a way a worse story though.
It is.
9 people in a Bible. This just like the more you learn about this, it's like, oh,
yeah,
how do you sit there for an hour with people and then kill them?
Right.
And when all these people are in a church, you assume that they are all innocent and just sitting there, praying.
Churchgoers.
Everyone is welcome.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes in and just guns them all down.
And reloads.
Reloads. And they're all African American. It seems like just a more horrible
Well, it's
story.
like I've said, the media, people say Black Lives Matter, which is a lovely sentiment, but not the press is concerned. Black lives matter, but what's more important to the press is white people's behavior.
Yes.
The white behavior is much more important than black victims.
And the media in general has just accepted drive-by shootings.
Sure.
They've just accepted them as being the norm because they just don't report on it. They don't report on the norm in general.
Your last caller was right, though, about that senator. He chose him out as an assassination. The kid's from Columbia, South Carolina. He drove an hour and a half to that church in Charleston and waited for that man to show up for the Bible study.
Well, I hope he didn't break any speed laws, because that would just add even more tragedy to this.
But he took
More
his time,
problems
and
for the kid.
He wanted that senator because he's a very well-spoken and predominant state senator in South Carolina.
Yeah. All right. Let me go to thank you, sir. Let's go to a police officer in Charleston, South Carolina. We got Steve. Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Yes.
What's going on, buddy?
I'm a police officer in Charleston, and the biggest issue that I'm having right now and my fellow guys are having is the opportunists that come in and are trying to take advantage of the youth, the black youth, and get them riled up. We're seeing increase in violence that we didn't see, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And it's disappointing because a community is mourning what happened, black, white, whatever. There's just as many whites that are outraged and upset about this as there are blacks. But we have people coming in that are riling these groups up. And we have a pretty predominant hospital here in Charleston, and we've got extra patrol going on, and it's just a shame to see someone trying to profit off of this kind of a loss. It just pisses me off, really, to be honest with you guys. They're saying things like, we put the white guy in a bulletproof vest, but we didn't do this with any. We wouldn't do this if it was a black guy. The truth of the matter is that's just standard procedure.
Well, yeah, I would assume that. As a police officer down there, are you a little more nervous for your own safety?
I am not, because the people that I have talked to have been supportive. They have been. I think it just really depends on you, your own personality. There's a difference between someone acting like they give a shit and someone that actually gives a shit. And I think, this is a city I live in. I give a shit. And I think that remnants with people. I think they understand that. But, there are a lot of whites that are nervous walking down the street at night. And it's a shame, because that's not really how this community is.
Yeah. Do you think they should take down the flag?
I think they should take down the flag. I really don't care about the flag. And if you ask more people around here, they don't, it's just something that's been part of daily life that they don't even realize it. But I got to tell you, it's not the flag that causes the racism. It's the damn parenting. In the end, we're a product of our parents.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, because if you follow the story on the news, it seems very obvious. If they take down the flag, then racism will go away.
Yeah, well, racism is always.
I hate symbolism. It drives me nuts. Nothing is going to change in the end. Should they take the flag down? Sure, why not? But then what? Then tell me what the plan is after that.
Well, and here's the thing. Bottom line is that we see, one caller mentioned guys with it on their car, or their license plate, on their back window, and the flag. Listen, you take down that flag, you may have a bigger problem, because you're going to have that kickback of these good old country boys that are going to do it in spite of, because they think, how dare you do this to me?
Sure, and that'll absolutely happen. I think. Go ahead.
And it's just like, it's just like 9/11. We flew American flags like crazy. 3 weeks later, we forgot about it. 2 weeks from now, no one's going to be talking about a Confederate flag.
Right.
It's just, again, the parents breed that racism, and the friends breed the racism. It's not a flag. A flag is, a flag is a piece of cloth. It really doesn't matter. You've got to make up your own mind what you believe and what you feel, and that's. And like I said, you do that. We're so quick to jump at things, to grab on to things that don't make any sense, and trying to hang our hat on the flag. But the truth of the matter is, until we change the way we look at each other, a flag don't make a damn difference.
Has there been any instances of black on white crime since this happened that the media's not reported down there in Charleston?
There is, but there's more of the jumpings, the more of the fights, and that's coming from, that's coming from difference of opinion. That's coming from, people getting drunk and popping off at the mouth, and the white guy says something, and the black guy's temper is already way up there, and then it turns into an altercation. But there's no, hey, white guy walking down the street, and all of a sudden gets jumped by 20 black guys. That's not happening. That's being portrayed as something that's going to happen, but it's not happening. Or is it the other way?
Isn't part of the problem with the way the press reports it is that a lot of times the cops, you guys aren't reporting certain crimes as hate crimes because they don't want the stats to go up. Like certain black on white crimes that are hate crimes, the police department doesn't say is a hate crime. Like, we're just investigating as a robbery or just, a robbery gone wrong. And they don't look at it like it's that because their stats would go through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a certain definition of a hate crime, and there's a definition of just a regular, misdemeanor crime or dispute. A hate crime, really, you have to be able to really show that this was done intentionally just over race. Without that, I mean, two guys decide to fight in a bar over a girl, and one guy's black and one guy's white. Is that a hate crime?
No, of course not. I'm not talking about those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you know exactly what Jimmy's talking about.
You know the type of stuff I'm talking about, dude. Like where it's 10 guys at a carnival and they beat the shit out of one guy, or one guy's with his girlfriend and 10 black guys beat him up. And, the press, if it was reversed, we blame the press, but a lot of times the cops just say that was just an altercation, and they don't say, this was obviously motivated because it was one white guy.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, we know that there's issues like that, but yeah, you're exactly right, because once you put the stigmatism on that it's a hate crime or
comes up every time, man.
So if it's not the Confederate flag, why are they making the connection that it is the Confederate flag?
I don't understand that. It's called revisionist history. The press calls it the Confederate flag. They don't call it. I heard one person call it the Confederate battle flag. That's what it was. It was to rally the troops on the battlefield. It was bright red, had the stars and bars and the X across the middle, and it was well visible on the battlefield. That's why they used it. They didn't use the white one with the cross in the middle of it because it had too much white in it. I don't know why they didn't use it, but you don't wave your country's flag on the battlefield and take a chance of it getting dirtied and sullied on the battlefield. But I think it was more because it was more of a visible flag. They never used the Confederate flag on the battlefield.
All right. There you go. We're learning more about the Confederate flag. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
The whole
go
thing.
Find Chuck. I got to go trucking.
All right, Tim. Thank you. Tim in Alabama. This guy also has a problem with what JW said. Mike in Massachusetts. Mike.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, I think I'm just going to say all the same shit they just said.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. That guy was just wrong a little bit, too. South Carolina has many quotes from 1860 that proves that they succeeded over slavery.
Seceded.
It's not me saying it. It's not revisionist history. It's quotes from politicians from South Carolina in 1860.
All right.
So, it's true that there were states' rights, but it was the states' right to own slaves. So, in a sense, it is true it's states' rights, but it was states' rights to own people.
So you think they should remove the flag?
Yeah, I guess, it shouldn't be on any state bill then.
Do you think they should get rid of the Dukes of Hazzard reruns?
Well, they were pretty good, only if Daisy's on it.
I mean, they had the Confederate flag on the General Lee, so maybe we should get rid of the TV show now. Get rid of all the reruns.
Yeah, you're right.
That could be hurtful for the children.
I wonder if they're going to do something like that, some kind of
that
network.
would end all racism.
Or all the Cosby drama. They did. TV Land pulled it. Now,
I guarantee the Dukes of Hazzard reruns will go away.
Wherever they played, on Nickelodeon or
I think
it'll be a big, press release.
I think it's on the Country Music Channel.
Right. We feel here at blah blah TV.
It's on TV Land.
Really?
Yeah.
The Dukes of Hazzard is displaying the Confederate flag in the generally is hurtful for many people.
But well, like, what if it was more like they're saying that it was used like many different ways. What if it was tied in more with racism and more with slavery? Then is it okay? We do have to get rid of it now because it does represent a darker time, or
that's
is
exactly what people are saying. But then other people are saying that's all bullshit.
Right, but they're also saying that it represented many other things besides racism. So,
we just took calls for almost an hour, half hour probably. I still don't know what the fucking Confederate flag represents. I really don't.
Either.
It seems like it's all over the place.
It's like I always say, can't everyone just be nice to each other?
It's similar to the Redskin name. You know, some people say it's not offensive, other people do. So,
yeah, I can't hear you because the headphones that were fixed for me are now broken again. So, what did you say? For real, I didn't hear you.
It's on the list.
Oh, is it? The Washington Redskins, I heard something like that.
It's similar to the Redskin name. You know, is it offensive? Some people saying not, and
others say it is.
Yeah, the Redskin owner is saying it's not, and everybody else is saying it is. And
yeah. So I really don't know. I still haven't learned much about the Confederate flag. I'm confused now. I think I'm more confused now.
They're making all this stuff seem like it's a swastika, which is really tied into a bad time in history.
That's just your interpretation.
Yeah, it started out as a peace symbol, didn't it?
It did. That is also what they say. That's true.
All right, so let's bring it back as a sign of peace.
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
I suggest we do that immediately. We should make sure you go see Florentine down there in Baltimore, and then Stitches Comedy Club in Lancaster.
Borgata. Oh, it's this Friday. Okay, I thought it was Borgata this Friday night, and I got the Borgata July 10, 11. I got Albuquerque July 18th. I got Houston and Dallas going on sale tomorrow morning. There's a pre-sale. August 21st, 22nd, I'll be Houston and Dallas. I'm really on the road. I got New York coming up, Minneapolis. Just go to JimNorton.com if you want to see my nonsense.
Great. A little later today, we got Jeff Ross coming in to say hi. It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in a bit.
We missed him last time because we asked for him too late, but he's sticking around.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing him and catching up. And then a little later, big get for the show. My God, Zach Hampel will be calling in.
Oh, he is?
Zach Campbell will be on the show today. He caught A-Rod's 3,000th hit, which was...
Dad loves baseball.
He loves it.
Really enjoys baseball.
When we get back, we're going to be talking about Obama saying, oh, my God, the N-word. We got a lot of good clips on that. And the prison escapees. That story just gets better and better.
That's good.
They're going to get caught soon. I guarantee it. Within 2 days, is my guess.
Tilly's husband just gave an interview to the Today Show.
Yes. Should we get that audio and see if he said anything?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, should we.
Tilly's husband is talking to Matt Lauer, right? He got the exclusive?
Yeah.
Matt Lauer's getting all the exclusives. So we'll step aside here. We got lots to do.
This is Opie Radio.
It certainly is the end of innocence, guys. It certainly is. I used to like Don Henley. I kind of like his solo stuff. Where did Florentine go?
He's shitting.
I only like the hits of Don Henley. Like, the other stuff was not that good. You know what I mean?
Deep track? Who listens to deep tracks of Don Henley?
No, but like when you say you like his solo, you like 4 songs of his solo.
Henley heads do. Henley heads.
Henley heads.
Yes.
Henley heads.
I didn't know they were called Henley heads.
Absolutely. I've been a Henley head for many, many years.
Really?
Yep.
I go Dirty Laundry, Boys of Summer, End of The Innocents, New York Minute, maybe. I would have to see a list of other songs.
Yeah.
I haven't
Moscow
thought of...
Schultz is a good one. Moscow Schultz.
Yeah,
is
that's
a great song by Don Henley.
Sunset Grill, of course. I like that one. Yeah, but you might be right.
It's like 5 songs.
Maybe 4 or 5 songs. The top 10 Don Henley songs. Oh my God, guys. Should we start from number 10?
Yes. This will fill an hour.
Taking You Home. I don't know that song.
No, Gladly Compadre is a good song.
Is it?
Yeah, Gladly Compadre.
What album was that off? I don't remember that one.
That was off of A Barrel of You Know What. And put You Know What in quotes.
Sunset Grill, let me see this real fast, because now we committed. The Last Worthless Evening, okay. New York Minute, Dirty Laundry, The Heart of the Matter, Not Enough Love in the World, All She Wants to Do Is Dance, The End of the Innocents. And number 1 is The Boys of Summer.
End of the Innocents, a great song.
We're playing it right now for you.
It's a good.
You missed the whole
it's a
damn
good
thing.
breakup. Good breakup. Like some chick breaks your heart or something. You know.
I hope you had a nice piss, Arnold. You
Yeah.
missed the whole fucking thing.
That is a good song if someone breaks up with you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just so you make it hurt more?
Yeah, you get through it. Here's another song about breakups that's really good. I hope your click gets caught in a door jam, but that never got any radio play.
No,
just too
bad.
long. It wasn't even the language. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't about the language. They were willing to accept the word clit
It was just too
on
long.
FM radio.
Yes.
Oh, it's just how long was the song?
11 and a half minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's a little long. That's a little long. Do they have a radio edit? Because Dennis Falcone knows all about the
That
radio
is the radio edit.
That was. What's
Yeah,
the original?
14.
14?
Yeah.
They only took out 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah, the other part is just a straight drum solo in the middle of the song.
You don't think you could have trimmed the drums at all in the middle?
Well, they did. They did down to 11:30.
That's amazing.
I think we should bring Dennis Falcone in. He knows about radio edits, Jimmy. We could do a whole thing on it.
I would really rather not bring Dennis Falk. There's so many wonderful stories to talk about.
This CD actually, there was this girl I was in love with, and she wanted nothing to do with me. And I'm like, you could borrow this CD. I just wanted to have it just so I can go back to it at some point to get it back.
Oh my God! Imagine knocking on her door, going, "I need."
No, I remember driving her. I'm like, no, you can borrow. She goes, no, it's okay. I go, no, seriously, just borrow it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Because I just wanted to have that one thing where I could call her
connection, yeah.
again, like 2 weeks later. Go, hey, you used to have that CD. I kind of need it.
And then what happens then?
She didn't want it.
Well, but no, the 2 weeks go by. You already know she doesn't want anything to do with you. So now you're going to make the move to get your CD back, hoping that maybe we don't need you, Dennis.
Hopefully that
we really don't need you. You can't barrel in here like this.
They told me to come on in.
No, Jimmy made the call. We're not talking about radio edits after all.
No. You're not?
No. Thanks for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Like Billy Joel, the entertainer.
Oh, great. Good for you.
They cut it down to 305.
From what?
What's that?
From what?
What was the fallout to that song?
I don't know. That's your world.
I just
Go.
threw it in there right now.
All right. Thank you.
We're Charlie Daniels.
Thank you.
I told you once, you son of a gun. Remember that one? They cut out the
Honestly, I have a real problem with that song because this is serious and you pay and there's unedited channels and everything. And if you listen to the 70s or 80s channel, whatever, and they play the Devil Went Down to Georgia, they play the son of a gun version instead of the son of a bitch version.
Right. And I'll explain that to you.
No, you got to go.
Yeah, this is not. We're talking about this. I want to talk about this case.
Unless you want to talk about the N-word.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. If you want to talk about what we're talking about, that's fine. No one's talking about boring radio shit. No one gives a fuck.
I like to talk
It's
about
a
music
dead
in
medium.
this. You see, the reason they play that on the 70s channel is because...
What do you
that's
think of the
basically a
Confederate
family
flag?
channel.
Contribute
What's
something
that?
interesting. What do you think of the Confederate flag?
Yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that flag.
That flag.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that flag.
So you would keep the flag?
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Son of Sam killed people because he heard a dog talking to him. Right? We didn't get rid of dogs.
Well, it's different though. Dogs weren't used as a
Flag
kind of
had
a
nothing
symbol.
to do with this. The flag had
No,
nothing to do
I know,
with this
but it
guy.
kind of
This guy was
reminded
crazy
people.
from
That's
the
not
get-go.
Do you think the flag should be on state grounds?
Yeah, it's part of the South. It's part of their heritage. It's part of their history.
Okay.
All right.
That's all.
I don't agree with you, but all right.
It's not a flag of hate. The Nazi swastika is a
No, it technically means peace. They perverted it.
They did pervert it.
See, but you're saying that, but they perverted it. It's like, but we all know
it
what
started
it is.
out as a peace symbol. Everyone knows that. Jimmy's absolutely right. They perverted that
Russell
symbol.
Brand tried to use it in his last special. He wanted to use that in the proper, tilted the proper way, because technically it means, and they just wouldn't let him.
They were like, no.
Yeah, I like the idea. I like that he
dangerous.
tried, but they just thought it was shitty.
Can we talk about music and the singers?
Thanks, Dennis.
No, it's not a music channel. It's boring. Talk about music is fucking boring.
No, it's not.
It is.
Why? If you talk about Black Sabbath, then you're all in.
Yes.
Case in point.
So you should come in here with some Black Sabbath knowledge, and then it would go well.
But talking about the technical aspects of music is fucking boring. No one gives a shit. They don't care. No offense to you. It's not your fault. They just don't care.
No, I think people do care about music.
No, they care about music, but not to discuss that it's, the intricacies of it. And
Yeah,
no
the
one gives
radio,
a shit.
because someone could go, yeah, I heard that. I can't believe that they played the radio edit. And the other guy goes, yeah, I know that sucks. And then they're on to something else.
I don't think most people know that.
Even the
They
son
do
of,
know it. They do
even
know
the
it.
son of a bitch, son of a
Well, you
gun
think it was
discussion was
Heart of the
flat.
Matter had
But that
a
bothers
radio
me.
edit in it
because,
too.
Again, you can't in regular commercial radio. You can't play a 5-6 minute version song in commercial radio.
What do you think of this girl that fucked her boss?
Because it's just tough to play. What's that?
What do you think about this girl that fucked her boss and didn't want to? He's suing for $850 million.
Yeah, you got an opinion on that?
No, I don't.
Well, that's what I would rather talk
But
about.
you have an opinion on a 5-minute song on commercial radio?
Speaking of minutes, 2 minutes is as long as this guy lasted. This guy fucked this beautiful girl. It only lasted for 2 minutes.
That's
I
the
think
best
she
part of the
thought-
story.
She thought that by bringing that
I
out,
might be related.
I think she thought that by mentioning that it was going to get him to settle.
Yeah.
But you can't. What do you settle for if you?
What guy would be offended by that?
A non-comic might be like we can talk about it, but most guys would be very embarrassed by it.
You think so?
Yeah, right. You know, guys are so.
All my regular friends last 2 minutes and just can't. They'll tell anyone that listens. Anyone.
Yeah, 2 minutes is whatever. If you know you could get a longer session in, then you know you're good. If you're the two pump chump every single time, then that's embarrassing. Sometimes you're just more turned on, right?
Yeah.
Good 2 minute load.
Did you ever hear the record in the 1950s, 60-minute man by the Dominoes?
Can you
I rock them, roll them all night long. I'm a 60-minute man. It's about the man who's sustaining. Yeah.
When you put your penis in a vagina, can you last a long time there, Dennis Falcone?
Sure.
How long could you last?
5 minutes.
5 good minutes?
Sure.
And you're pumping the whole time?
I'm pumping.
All right.
Pump it up like Elvis Costello.
All right. Get out of here.
Pump it up.
What are we doing? It's like a 70s sitcom. Oh, no. Hello.
I told him to get out.
He's like the goofy neighbor that comes in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That walks in.
No, Schneider, we're okay.
I told you to get out, for real.
Take care, guys.
All right.
If you need me, you know where to find me.
Yeah, I know. We saw you running down the hall. So the end of the innocence. So then, she doesn't want you for two. I know where we were. But she now has the CD, and you had the 2 weeks to realize she doesn't want anything to do with you. So what's your move when you go back to get the CD? You're hoping that there's some kind of magic that happens?
I'm just hoping that maybe she changed her mind. Maybe she thought about it. Maybe there was some other guy and she liked, and then she realized, no, this guy's an asshole. Let me stay with.
Oh, okay.
Me. There's a million different things.
That's respectable.
So are you hoping when you go in to get it and she sees you, she changes her mind, or are you going in like trying to convince her?
No, not convince her. Just say, maybe like, hey, pick up the CD. You want to go grab some lunch or something like that? I go hang for a little bit. Hoping that that's going to happen. But
how did it work in the end?
It didn't work.
She just handed you the CD?
Yeah.
And that was it?
That was it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
George, she didn't even open the door all the way.
She better get through the letter slot.
It was like they opened the door like halfway.
I respect that you gave it a shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, Eric.
You were going to ask Florentine about dating.
Yeah, we are.
But is that later in the show?
Yeah, it has to be later in the show because Jimmy brought up this the story with the guy that only lasted 2 minutes.
Yeah, I cannot get enough of this guy.
And you really thought that bringing that up, he was going to go, all right, keep that out of the fucking media. I'll give you your money.
I think so. I mean, why else would she? She's saying that he kind of coerced her into fucking, and she was, and which I think that he probably did as the boss. But it's like, you fucked the guy 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
She was worried about her visa getting taken away and losing her job, and she did lose her job.
Well, the visa thing is a big deal.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
This guy's fucked, I think. I know I pick wrong every time, but this guy's fucking...
You like this story, don't you, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Why do you like this story so much?
Because he's so dumb in the workplace to pull this shit.
How old was he and how old was she?
He's 43, she's 25 or 26.
And he owns the company, right?
Or he's the CEO.
He's right up there.
They'll probably fire him after this, but... What a dope.
But she accepted an
apartment and handbags
from the guy.
And dinners, yeah.
So wouldn't you think they're dating at that point? So what's the problem here?
Well, he's married with kids, and he, she said that he eventually did fire her too, and that was the problem.
Oh, that's when she got pissed off. And why did he fire her?
Because he found her boyfriend in her bed. She was dating some guy. Like she said, she didn't want to date him, and then he came over and found some guy in bed.
But he's married.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't he just accept that and go, all right, well, she's...
Well, he laid out all those gifts and
in the apartment, $3,600 a month apartment.
Right. But all right. So he wanted his side piece to not have any other guys around.
He probably figured that was part of the deal. I give you a job, Prada handbags, and your own apartment. Just don't fuck anyone in the apartment.
Right.
I get it. But you work with her.
Right.
If you want a sugar daddy her, that's fine. But you work with her, that's a mistake. You can't hire somebody and then sugar daddy them.
Yeah.
Make a decision.
Yeah.
And then fire him.
Yeah, it's so stupid. This day and age, it's like you're begging for a lawsuit.
How much does she want?
$850 million.
Oh, that's right. It was way
That's a
up there.
big piece. That's a lot of money.
What do you think she gets in the end?
I don't know, man. I have no idea how to gauge these things. That's a fucking lot of...
It's not going to be $850
No,
million.
it might be $10 million, but that's still a lot of money.
She has some guilt in there. You know, why is she accepting the gifts, the apartment, all that shit? You're right? That's going to knock the number down drastically, I think.
Yeah. All right. Look, if he could prove that she did something wrong at work, you never know.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
The escapees. So they're going to find these guys within, I think, within 48 hours is my guess. By this
It's
time,
amazing they haven't found them yet.
It really is amazing. But now it turns out they only went about 20 miles from the prison because they found some DNA in a cabin.
In a cabin.
Is it officially a cabin?
It's cabin in the woods.
Owned by some correctional officer?
Yes. And it's like 20 miles away from the prison.
And they're not really saying, but the word has gotten out, and I'm not making this up. One of the escapees left his underwear behind.
Yes.
How bad was this guy's underwear that he left it behind?
And what was in it? They said within 24 hours. I bet you some piss drops. I bet you they found piss drops with some kind of a fluid. They found a fluid leakage that they could tell by you run it between your thumb and forefinger, and you can see that if it's not dry, it's less than 24 hours. A lot of times I'll hold it against my nose and rub with my thumb, and if I can still smell urine, I'll understand that it's been 24 hours or less.
Because there were no maggots eating the sperm yet.
Yeah, and this fecal matter in the back was not being devoured by maggots, which typically takes 24 hours.
Yeah, they know they got DNA. They know that means these guys were there within the last 24 hours, but now it's been more than 24 hours as we report this.
But they've been at it, they broke out about a week ago now?
No.
2 weeks.
We're over 2 weeks, I think.
So
I want to say 17 days, 18 days, I think.
Well, they definitely got some fecal matter. I mean, they haven't used toilet paper in 2.5 weeks after the shitting, so.
That's true, probably leaves.
Yeah.
Leaves all over the woods, right?
Right, so it's in their tighty whities, or whatever the hell they were wearing.
You think some of the police?
Yeah, they weren't, there was no baby wipes in the middle of the woods.
You think these police officers are like, holy fuck, how many times are these guys gonna shit? We found more over here, Captain.
Yeah, you wanted to find logs of shit anywhere.
Yeah. But the guy, they're saying it's underwear that he left behind. Oh my God!
But the fact that they left it in a cabin owned by someone at that prison, either they were screwing with the people, or it's a really bad coincidence that they picked like one of the guards' cabins,
or they already knew about it. Maybe she told.
Maybe she told.
Oh, maybe she did tell.
Maybe she's not saying.
It's owned by multiple correction officers.
Multiple.
Then how did they know about it?
So they went in on a cabin together.
I don't know. I think it was probably random.
You think it was random?
Yeah, because from what I read, there's a lot of cabins there. A lot of people just store food there. They probably figured, hey, let's break into one of these cabins, see if there's any food. They found peanut butter there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean,
they're just breaking. They're at the point now where they're just breaking in for food.
Yeah, they're desperate.
Up in that area, they're fucking in deep trouble.
Why wouldn't they? I was reading an article this morning. They had 7 hours before anyone was going to discover them. You just got to fucking run for 7 hours.
Yeah, but where can
you
go?
Just keep going. But you got to get as far away as possible.
You got to carjack a car is what you got to do.
That's probably what they should have done.
Take the person's phone.
Right.
They carjacked it and just take off.
And just go. Or hot wire. If you're
steal a car, yeah.
If you're breaking out of the prison in the way they did, I mean, I would imagine they could hot wire a car, no?
Right. Steal a car, leave New York. You can't be within 20 miles of the prison like 2 weeks later.
No, not after that elaborate plan. You just can't do that.
No. Although you get pulled over, with the problem is you can get pulled over driving. It's like you're where the cops are. You're on the road.
But even if you get to drive for, let's say, an hour,
yeah,
you
50 miles away. That's true.
Right.
You could get on.
You take that chance. You go, all right. Look, the chances are we could get pulled over. So let's make a deal now. We're gonna fucking drive an hour, and then we're just dumping this car, and then we'll go from there.
Although you know what, the stolen car thing, they'll find the car within a day or two, and then they know where you are. Like if they find that car is stolen, and they go, all right, well they got to be within a few miles of here because it's the car that was stolen. It's almost like you're leaving.
So you make sure
breadcrumbs.
Make sure they can't find the car right away.
Yeah,
I think you get on a train. Because 2015, and we're still relying on the conductor to sort of say, "Oh yeah, I think you're new, and then I have your ticket." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's pretty easy.
Right. There's no security on trains.
None.
There's nothing. You sit in separate cars. These guys seem to be staying together.
But where do they get the money to get on a train?
Yeah.
No, you don't need the money to get on a train. You just get on a train, and then when
What
you
are
see
they,
the conductor
fucking-
coming, I'm going to the next car.
Right, and then
It's like-
and then they'll kick you off at the
Just get out. Yeah.
if you
Yeah, and
go,
they'll say, did you see two guys in yeah, we kicked them off last night. What stop? This one. All right. Now we know where they are.
I know, but they got to get to that
gotta split
conductor.
They got split up.
And the conductor has to be suspicious enough to go, wait a minute, I got to call somebody because they got the tools in the middle of the chop meat, and that was how they got him in.
Well, she should go to jail for a long time. If she's not going to jail, she should.
For just being
There was another story in the Post
dummy?
over the weekend. Yeah, for being a dummy and for helping guys, 2 murderers get out of fucking jail.
Sure.
There was a story about another woman who went to jail for it too. She helped a guy escape. She fell in love with him. She was kind of taking care of him and helping him. Like, I forget why she worked at the jail, but she got bothered by some inmates and he kind of protected her, and then he became her escort when she was there. And, he was in jail for life, and her and him ran away together, but they got caught after a couple weeks.
And all right, Lyle has been taking it day by day.
Fuck yeah!
let's play
Day
this.
by day, sock cucker.
I can't imagine a more tension-filled and tumultuous 17 or 18-day period. How are you, Lyle?
Just taking it day by day.
I'm good, buddy.
It's been rough.
Yep.
Can you describe how this has turned your life upside down?
This is one day it's 100%, everybody happy. The next day, that's what happened.
Yeah, I was like, what
And
the
it's in
fuck?
shock.
It's like someone
yeah.
pulls the rug out from
Yes.
under you.
Yeah, I know,
Yes.
you crack your head.
First observation, because I lived in upstate New York, I forgot about that nasal accent. They like to talk through their nose up there a lot.
Really? I never noticed that.
Yes, they do. Listen for it. Lyle was at the hospital with his wife when he found out about the prison break.
Tell me where you were and where you first heard that there had been this escape at the Clinton Correctional Facility, where you work, by the way.
I was on stage
I was at
performing.
the,
I was with the sick
hospital.
fucking
My wife
puppies.
that night before said she was having chest pain. Next morning, I come back in, and we get ready to leave, and we turn the cell phone on, and all of a sudden we had all kind of beep, all from our kids, our family, state troopers are looking for us. So my wife when she turned the cell phone on, she said, oh my God, she had Matt and Sweat escaped. What? Says, well, it must be the white troopers want this.
Wait, you said he was well spoken.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. God. Good old Lyle. Nothing seemed unusual about Joyce, a.k.a. Tilly. Let's listen to this next clip.
The instant you and your wife heard that Richard Matt and David Sweat had escaped from Clinton, what was her reaction and what was your reaction?
She started playing
I
with
just
a
couldn't believe it.
CUDA.
Her reaction when she said they escaped, they really escaped, and that's why I left it at that.
And you've known her for 21 years. You looked in her eyes. Nothing seemed unusual about her
She looked
expression
shocked.
or her
And
demeanor.
when I said they want to talk to us, because we know them, we're to help out. So we went right to the police barracks. He said, you guys been looking for us? He said, who are you? I said, Lyle and Joyce Mitchell. Yes, we have.
And so at that point, Lyle, you had no reason to ask your wife, do you know anything about this escape?
No.
No. They were looking at my
And then
wife.
the
They
next
thought she
morning,
was
said,
Paul
"Let's take
Williams.
police call." I said, for what? They want to know something about a package.
It's hard to do this with this guy talking
What are
under
you
me.
talking about? She said, we'll go back to, I need to talk to the troopers. Investigator Cavell said, Mr. Mitchell, your wife has more involved than what she's letting on. What? And that's when he said that she was, she bought apparently 2 hacksaw blades, a Phillips bit, and a chisel. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Sounds like Tiny Tim.
Is that what it is? What letter can he pronounce?
Everyone.
Yeah.
There's a few in there and more than one?
Instead of shock, he said jock in the first clip.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing if you listen to this show.
Yes.
He was not aware, huh?
Wouldn't you fuck prisoners if your husband talked like that?
Yeah, he sounds like he has bad breath. He sounds like he has that nasal dry mouth.
Like that just keeps dripping in the back of his throat.
Yeah. Good call, by the way, whoever brought up Paul Williams. She really looks like Paul Williams.
Oh, boy, does she.
Wow.
Let's do one more clip here. Lyle talks about finding out the prisoners had planned to kill him. Okay, this should be the good clip.
I was like, what the fuck?
When did you finally ask her point blank, face to face?
That night on the way home.
Did you say, did you help these 2 prisoners escape?
I said, well, how can it happen? She said, this. I got over my head and I was scared. And she said, I got something else to tell you. I said, what's that? She said, their plan was they want to kill you. I said, what? They wanted her to come pick them up.
So she admitted to you at that moment that once these two escaped from Clinton and made their way to that manhole, that she was supposed to be the one to pick them up and drive them away.
She told me that Matt wanted her to pick them up. And she said, well, I never leave nowhere without Lyle. Never. And he said, well, I'll give you some pills to give him to knock him out, and then and you can pick us up. She said, I am not doing that. She said, I love my husband. I am not hurting him. And she said, then I knew I was over my head. She said, I can't do this. And then she told me he started threatening her with somebody inside the facilities was going to do something to me, to harm me or kill me, or somebody outside the jail if she didn't stay with this.
According to your wife, they were going to kill you for what reason?
Did this get me out of the way? But she said she would never go through with it. That's what she told me. That she really loved me, and she was in too deep.
About 7-8 years ago, I think his name was Lee, Vincent Lee. I'm not too sure with the name for sure, but anyways, he was in a Greyhound bus, and this guy, and for no reason at all, the guy reaches over and just pulls out a knife, and a big knife, and he cuts his throat, and he keeps on going, and he beheads him right on the bus.
We totally remember that story from a few years back.
That guy went to jail for 5 years, and he's out.
That's why I'm taking this call. You know that already, huh, Jimmy?
Yeah, we talked about it. He's out of prison.
I don't remember.
Because Canada said he was well. Like, the delusion of Canada to think that you can cure somebody who decapitates a person on a bus. I mean, is this being on the bus isn't bad enough? God.
But he's out on parole after only 5 years after beheading somebody.
I really hope he kills someone else. That whole dumb country to look at their way of handling mental health.
Right. Is that what you were going to say, Jerry?
Yeah, exactly. That's all, man. Hey, take care, guys.
Thank you, Jerry.
All fucked up, man. That's all, man.
All right, welcome aboard, Jerry.
That amazes me that you could actually behead somebody.
It encourages me.
I mean, Canada's right over there, too. This is close to us, and you could be out in 5 years. How is that possible?
I don't know.
Anyway, we're going to have more Lyle clips in a little while here.
Love that guy.
You like him?
Yeah.
Why do you love him?
It's the way he speaks. His wife's just a piece of shit.
She is. And she didn't want to kill her husband because she loved her husband, but she was going to run off with these two guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she loved her husband.
Yeah, the whole thing's a mess. Well, but Lyle said she got in too deep. She was in over her head at that point.
She was in over her head.
Lyle's not a very bright bulb. No, I think that she knew if she could tell him anything. Well, were you going to kill me? Well, we weren't. Okay.
They weren't going to kill me. She said so.
I got your perch.
Yeah, she's not gonna,
what else do you do?
She's not going to admit, we're going to knock you off.
Yeah.
Too, so.
What an amazing story. But
she's getting a ride home with him, so she's not going to tell him.
Yeah. I think this story's just about done. I really do. I got a hunch.
You think the next 24 hours they drag him?
I say 2 days.
2 days.
I say by Thursday. Right around by Thursday, I think they got him.
I'm sort of surprised.
Because they're saying they found the underwear behind. It has the DNA in it, and now supposedly it's a cakewalk from here for the bloodhounds.
It is amazing, though, that they've been within 15 miles of the prison, and they've been gone this long. They haven't caught him in...
I think one of the guys escaped from a jail back in '86, and I believe he said at the time that if you escape from jail, you just gotta lay low for a while. And in this case, it probably wasn't the right thing to do. They probably should have tried to get as far away as possible.
I would get, and we were talking about
my move would be just all night long, man. Just go as far as I can.
Yep.
And make some moves if I have to. Do I jump on a bus? Do I try to jump on the back of a train? Anything, just to keep getting miles between me and the prison.
And we were talking before the show that they should split up. One go in one direction, one go in the other.
Well, think about it. If it's two guys, you go to each other. Look, we split up. One of us has a much better chance of really being free here.
Well, maybe they have split up. We don't know. Maybe they have.
Maybe. It seems like all indications are that they're still together, but you're right. We don't know shit.
Maybe they did.
We don't know shit in the end. You're right.
If he's smart, he had somebody he knows put the underwear up there. Maybe somebody helped him. Maybe somebody he knows, and he said, wait a little while. and then drop these in a cabin.
Can you imagine? Then this makes it an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Guy has to just hang out with this guy's shitty underwear for 18 days. It says, all right, 17 days from now, you're going to put this, in a cabin 20 miles from the prison.
That'll really make them think that they were still here.
That would be.
You give him a little vial of your piss.
Yeah.
Dump this on the underwear.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's a guy that's been on the run for 17 days and went, holy fuck, these guys.
He probably turned them inside out a few different times.
Yeah, scrubbed them, washed them in a river somewhere in the middle of the fucking mountains. And then finally said, look, I can't do anything else with these things. I got to leave behind. With the half-eaten peanut butter.
His friends tell him, dude, you can't leave that evidence. He's like, I'm not fucking walking around with these shitty underwear anymore. I'm done.
You carry them. If I'm not going to carry them, you carry them.
I know what I could do with a pair of underwear. I would have buried mine.
Exactly.
I would have buried mine. God.
You burn that thing and put it in a barbecue and douse it.
Tilly's husband sounds like Tom Sizemore. I didn't hear any Tom Sizemore in there, did you?
I didn't notice it.
Travis, is that it on the escapees? I think we nailed that story. That's pretty much what's going on as we speak. Mm-hmm. What do you think? You think they're going to catch him?
Yep.
Real soon, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not I'm not going out on a limb on that one, obviously.
No, I mean, if they're in the woods only 20 miles away from they have no plan.
No.
Like, they have no idea what they're doing.
Well, they had one, but some fat pig fucked it up.
Yeah, plan A was Tilly, plan B was nothing.
But how could they be? Saw yesterday afternoon while I was watching CNN. Oh, my God. I want the one where he's arguing with the other lady.
All right, I got it.
The other lady is like, she's becoming a star for CNN. They love her as far as these race stories goes. I don't know her name offhand. I forget. She's good looking though, man. She's like, I think she's half black, half Puerto Rican. And she's a lawyer, and they pop her on all the time. And they were discussing Obama using the N-word. And Don Lemon said the word on CNN, and this lady lost her mind. She could not believe that Don Lemon was doing this. And then they were arguing CNN's policy in front of everybody, basically saying, you know what the policy with the N-word is here at CNN. And Don Lemon just kept going with it. So let's take a listen to this. The following segment contains language that some may find offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
I don't think so. I will tell you that I was surprised. I was shocked. I was disappointed. I think language matters, especially when that language is coming from the leader of the free world, the President of the United States, especially as an African-American man. I think what it does, quite frankly, Wolf, is give people the feeling that they, too, can use it. We hear that argument being made oftentimes, well, rappers use it, so I can use it, too. And I think that the President was sort of ill-advised in thinking that he was either going to be provocative or be instructive and nuanced, because we all know he's a wordsmith. We know that he chooses his words carefully. So I don't think this was an accidental use of the term, but it now opens up the field for others using it. And in fact, on our very network, Wolf, you know that this term was not used. It wasn't something that journalists could use, and it wasn't something that we aired on our network. But now, because the President said it, I have heard that word, a very hurtful word, over and over and over again.
That's not right. First of all, he's not careful with his words. He's reading off a teleprompter most of the time. He's doing Mark Maron's podcast in a garage. He's not reading. Mm-hmm. He's just talking off the top of his head. That's why he said it. And it's not going to make other people say it. I don't say the word. It's not going to make me say it because Obama said it.
Yeah, and it's not going to make me say it more than I normally do.
Yeah. And she's downplaying the use of the word. I mean, you just walk the streets of New York, you hear it so many times just walking to a subway. Every young kid is using this word all the fucking time, and it doesn't matter what color they are, by the way. They're all doing it. I'm not saying that makes it right, but to make believe that people aren't really saying the word is bullshit.
And the problem is that contextually what he was saying, like we don't have any context ability. He was saying that you can't, it's just because people aren't saying that publicly. Like, he was just speaking honestly, and it was a really good context, and it was great what he was saying. What a fucking dumb country.
Very conversational, too, with him and Mark Maron.
Oh, God.
What a great get for Mark Maron. He gets Obama on his podcast, and then he gets Obama to say the N-word? Oh, my God. Doesn't get any bigger than that.
No. Yeah. He should stop doing podcasts now because he's never going to do better than that.
I was going to write him and say, look, you got to retire.
Yeah.
Who are you going to talk to next?
Right. You're done. That's
I know.
it.
I don't want. You don't want to be the next comic
No.
That's on his podcast on Thursday.
What are you going to have, Bob Newhart next?
That's
he's a
right.
legend, but who gives a fuck? You had Obama saying the N-word. It's time to shut down the podcast. This gets really good because now Don Lemon pops in.
Just today. It is right.
That's
It
not
is
right.
right.
No, I disagree with you. We have been able to use that word on this network for the entire 9 years that I've been here.
We haven't done it.
We
haven't
have.
done it.
I've used it. I've done it the entire time that I've been here. And the guidance has been, if the anchor is comfortable saying the word, the anchor can say the word on this network. That has
Don,
been the
we
guidance
had a
for the-
correspondent a couple of years ago, and I've been here for
But
6,
the
7
correspondent
years.
said
and that correspondent was not was reprimanded.
Babbling,
for using
interrupting
that
woman.
term.
Shut up.
it was.
God, she just
was
babbles and interrupts.
She is
reprimanded
mad.
for using an expletive, not for
Well,
using
that's
word.
that's even worse,
That-
Don,
and that
because
word
that
is not
means
an-
that
that
using
word is
an
not an
expletive is
expletive.
worse than using a racial epithet.
But it's
That's
not.
what
She
you're
was
saying,
using
and
the
it's
no.
inappropriate.
If she was on television calling someone that word, then yes, she should be suspended for it. But if she's on television using that word in context as to what someone said or what was used in a court of law or what have you, then no one should be suspended for that. We should not sanitize that word by saying this person called such and such the N-word. No, that person didn't call that person the N-word. That person called Sonny. I know you're going to get upset. That person called you or that person a nigger. They didn't say the N-word.
I can't believe,
as journalists,
Don, that
as
you,
journalists,
as an
we are
African-American man, are
conveyors.
going to use that word just
Of course,
so
because
flippantly. Words
we're
matter,
using
and
it.
you should know that.
I do know that. I have said the entire time that I've been here, I don't think we should bastardize the word. I don't think it should be used freely in songs over and over again.
You shouldn't use
but if
it at
you're using
all.
it in context of a story and it is relevant, you should be able to say it. In fact, I encourage people to say it because I
You're
think you should hear
encouraging
the
people to use a
because you
racial
should hear
epithet.
the impact of the word. No, I'm not encouraging people to call people the N-word. I'm using it historically. If I'm a journalist, journalists are part of the record. It is our job to convey the truth and to tell people reality.
It is
It's
also
not
our
our job
to realize
It's not our job
that there
to
are certain words that
sanitize a
should
word.
not be used. It is
It
also
shouldn't be
our
used
job
if you're
to
calling
use
someone-
our conscience,
if you're
to use our
using-
journalistic conscience
Yes,
to make
that's-
sure
and
that
that's
we
what
do
that's
not
what we're
use words
doing.
that are offensive.
This woman
It-
stinks. She fucking stinks. Everything he said is right.
He's 100% right on this, Don
Contextually,
Lemon
he's
is.
smart. He's not being. He's like
Yeah.
only in the context of the story. And
Of
then
a
she
story.
said something real sneaky there,
Yeah.
which shows you how journalists. It's our responsibility because certain words. It's like he's talking about in the context of reporting a story honestly and accurately. We are the record. She's saying no. It's our job to know that there are certain words you should know. It's not your job to shape the fucking story. He's right. Your job is to just be the record of what the story is. He's 100% right.
Yeah.
I like Don Lemon.
Yeah,
Not just because we have a lot more in common than I've let on.
he's nailing it, this Don Lemon.
Don, I
like
just
you wouldn't
said
get on
it's
air and use
offensive if you're
expletives.
using it to call someone a derogatory name.
But Don, let
not
me.
if you're
oh, good.
reporting
Wolf,
a
you
story.
weigh in.
In the last 2 hours, I've interviewed Cornell Brooks, the president of the NAACP, Mark Morial, the president of the National Urban League. They both wish that word would not be uttered. Why do you have to use that word instead of saying the N-word?
Oh,
You don't
shut
have
up,
to use
Wolf.
that word. I wish that word would not be uttered. I wish people would not call each other
But you're
that
uttering
word.
it yourself.
But I'm not calling someone the word. I'm a journalist. I'm supposed to use it. We're supposed to tell the
I mean,
truth.
are
We're
you
not
kidding
supposed
me?
to sanitize it.
Oh, my
You're
goodness.
sanitizing it by
Wow.
using that, by saying
Wow.
that.
He's
He's
100%.
Sorry.
He's 100%
Yes.
right. And Wolf Blitzer, shut up. Just shut up, Wolf.
He got a little nervous that that moment was happening on a show.
And their point that words matter, the fact that the president said it, I mean, he said it on purpose. He didn't say the N-word. He said the actual words.
Right.
He did it to make a point. So then I think it's fair game for the news to report that the president said this.
Of course.
So it's so stupid that they're editing themselves.
But now they're just obsessed that he said the word instead of really talking about what he was trying to
Right,
say
what
on
the
Mark
point
Maron's
was.
podcast.
But it's even gone well beyond that, just about how they shouldn't even say it in reporting any story.
Right. So if someone says it, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to say N-word like a child.
Yeah.
Like
And-
a child.
And then in the end, everyone knows what you're saying. So what are you accomplishing there?
I said it on Fox last night. No, but not again in the context that we were talking about. And the guy next to me said it. He was a black commentator.
Yeah.
In the context of what you're talking about, and it's an uncomfortable word to say. And that was kind of the point. It's like it's not comfortable to say that. It's like it doesn't, even contextually, it doesn't feel good. And that's all these people are doing, is try to spare themselves the discomfort of saying it. Well, it's okay to be uncomfortable saying it. It's a fucking ugly word, and you should feel something when you say it. It shouldn't be something you say and feel nothing for. And by saying N-word, you're able to just throw it around and feel nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, N-word, N-word. Oh, he said N-word. He dropped an N-bomb.
Yeah,
but if you say nigger, you feel that word, and you better have a fucking reason to say it.
Right.
You can't just say it casually and know that the black guy who hears you saying it is going to feel nothing.
I have a tough time saying it, to be honest.
I hate N-words. It's like we're fucking baby boys.
Yeah, I know.
Like we're little children. Mama going to get mad if I say F-word.
Yeah.
Mama going to get mad. You're not supposed to say, if you say it angrily, there's a big difference between that and
absolutely.
contextually.
That's why Don Lemon nailed it.
Yeah.
She twisted Don's statement. Interesting how she. Well, why don't we go to the caller?
She's a nudge, that lady.
John in Iowa, Sonny. She's on all the time. CNN loves Sonny, especially with all
and
with
daughtery
with all the Black Lives Matter, stories that are
And she's cute too.
that are prevalent. Yeah,
I fucked her.
She's fucking hot, man. Absolutely. But you'd have to listen to that
That'd be
nonsense.
awful.
John, what's going on? Go ahead, John.
Jim.
Oh, hold on. John, you there? I think I got you now.
I'm
Sorry.
here.
Johnny boy! Johnny Bram Muffins.
What's going on? Anyway, I thought it was perfect how it showed her instant reaction on how, when he said, I support people to use the N-word in context, that she just instantly flipped it. Oh, you support people to call people niggers? It's just perfect example of how she flips it.
Yeah, she was spinning that shit.
Yeah, she was.
I think Don Lemon was making a perfect point. He really was. And then she was trying to spin what he was saying into something that wasn't true.
And he said it's our job not to sanitize it, to report it.
Yes.
How can she deny that?
Yes.
It just shows exactly how ignorant some people can be when you have something specifically in context, and you can make it sound exactly like you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. Half of these guys can't even look out the window and get the weather right. How can you expect them to just?
Wow, that's
a tough accusation, sir.
That's a dangerous statement, sir. People are all counting on that for their weekend plans.
Yeah, don't go there for the weather stuff. Easy.
Very dangerous.
Easy.
I do my own weather these days. I just pop on a fucking satellite map and you could figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does Don
God,
Lemon get in trouble from
No.
No, because then
No.
I don't know if it happened before or after, but there's another clip. I don't know if we have time for it because it's more of a visual anyway. He holds up a huge sign with the word.
Was that for real? Good for him.
Yeah. Why don't we play it? It's more of a visual, but what the hell, now that we mentioned it. Thank you, John in Iowa.
All right, guys, have a good one.
This
Thank
is
you.
CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. This is what America is talking about right now.
Holds up the Confederate flag.
Does this offend you? It's a Confederate flag.
Okay.
Is it a symbol of Southern pride or a symbol of hate? And then, what about this? Does this offend you? This word. President Obama said it out loud in an interview, and a lot of people are shocked.
Racism. We are not cured of. Clearly. And it's not just a matter of it not being polite to say nigger in public. That's not the measure of whether racism still exists or not.
Tonight, the two stories on everyone's radar.
That's a really, that was really smart on Obama's part.
I want to know if Don Lemon sent like a white intern to make up that sign.
Yeah, or here's the great part. Do they already have it for something else?
Yeah, for something. But the people at Kinko's were like, wait, you want what?
Yeah. Is this for Don Lemon again?
Yeah. Do you think Don's send the black kid down to get that thing made up? Don't send the white guy.
Oh, my God.
That's probably above Wolf Blitzer's office, and they said, leave the no and allowed behind and just bring the...
Can you imagine watching this silently and just seeing Don Lemon hold up that sign? I guess the other lady's going to hold up one that says woman.
Someone just looking through the channels.
Recapping it?
Oh, is that
Someone just looking through the channels and seeing him holding that up.
I wonder if they're going to make other people hold that sign. I imagine so.
No.
Did he hold it because he couldn't say it? Because they were yelling at him, he couldn't say it?
I just think he likes the imagery of it.
Yeah.
And I love Don Lemon. He annoys me sometimes, but God damn it, do I like him right now.
Yeah, because he's showing he's got balls. You gotta respect a guy like that, even if you don't agree with everything he said.
Did I put that sign in storage in case they use it again?
God,
what do they do with it right now?
You think they shredded it?
When he walked on set with that sign, everybody must have just been like, "Oh boy, oh boy."
And one guy probably got fired because he didn't know what was going on. He went, "Don, I like that. That's good. You should hold that up."
Finally,
yeah.
I just went up to Don. Don, you didn't know you wore one?
Wow. Yeah, who had to make up the sign? That's a great question.
Or one guy probably said, Don said, look, we got to get somebody down. I know it's weird, but we got to get them to make a sign that says nigger. And someone said, I got one in the truck. You really? I do, if you want it.
Oh, many different sizes. What font do you want?
Yeah,
I got them in all fonts.
Do you want a black sign with white letters or a white sign with black letters? Do you want caricatures on it? I got a bunch.
That is great. Huh. What are we doing?
Jeff Ross on his way up.
Oh, okay. Fox and Friends they don't know Mark Maron's name, and they bleep out Obama saying the N-word, Jimmy. Sorry, I can't say it for you right now. Let's play it.
Hold on, finding it.
Yeah, they beeped it on Fox last night too.
Yeah.
Why are they beeping it?
Because Fox is people say the conservative network, but there is paranoid about race as anyone in the country. Mm-hmm. Like when Jesse Jackson said it, and he got caught on Mike saying it about Obama.
Okay.
He said he's talking down to niggers.
Right.
And they didn't kill Jesse Jackson on that.
Right. Know this, but one of the hottest podcasts in the country is WTF with, I think his name is it Greg Maron? It's Mark Maron.
He knows it's Mark Maron.
Can you pause this? Please.
He knows it's Mark Maron. He's got a copy right in front of him.
But why do they do that?
Because
if you're in the media,
because Maron's considered a liberal. That's why.
Oh, you think
Fox? So Fox.
You think they're doing that on purpose?
Yeah, because he was. Yeah, absolutely.
Because sometimes they just don't know, and I think to myself, you need to know basic knowledge if you're on a TV show. How do you not know about Mark Maron's podcast by now?
When they have an actor in, does he call him by the wrong name? So
you think they did that on purpose?
Of course, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, Mark Maron. The president had a chance to sit down and talk to him about race in America. We're going to bleep it out, but he uses the N-word. Listen.
Racism. We are not cured of. And it's not just a matter of it not being polite to say in public. That's not the measure of whether racism still exists or not.
How do you?
It's not just a matter of.
Can you pause this? How do you beep? We've heard the clip. How do you beep the president of the United States?
Yeah.
How do you fucking beep the president of the United States when he's talking? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you like him or not, he said it, and that was what he said.
And it's the president.
Societies don't overnight completely erase everything that happened 200 to 300 years prior.
Look at the world around us.
So there's the
breakthroughs are happening at a breakneck pace.
We got to pop up somewhere.
Oh, Jesus.
That's embarrassing to you. How many times I'm watching clips and I'm watching porn and I hear, "Hi, how are you?" And I think, ooh. And I'm like, oh, that's right. It's a pop-up. And I got to move 8 windows, 8 fucking black guys, fucking white women while their husbands watch. And all of a sudden I hear the girl, "You want to cam up?" And it's not even a real girl. It's a recording. Oh, nerds.
Nerds.
But you get excited.
Oh, fudge.
Do you get excited for a second thinking it's a live girl that just... I
thought she was fond of me.
Has an interest in you?
I said, this girl is fond of me.
Yay.
Bitch likes me.
Let's go back to... Oh, God, what are we doing? We're all over the place.
Now we're screwed.
Now we're screwed because of the pop-up.
Yeah.
That's too bad. It really is. Now we got to start over and hear them mispronounce his name again?
No, I don't know.
Oh, God.
Is WTF.
Oh, we heard this part already.
Who is it? Mary Maron?
Right.
Mark Spitz?
Okay, so there's the President of the United States using the N-word. He doesn't just say N-word, he actually uses the word. So today people are going to be talking, Brett, about whether or not it is appropriate for the President to use the N-word and
how about
whether or not
you
it
discuss
is
what he
beneath
talked
the dignity
about
of his office.
Yeah, I think he was speaking on that podcast that is known for some crude language, apparently sometimes, salty language, and chose to say that. Listen, he is the prerogative, I guess, to say those things when talking about racism from his personal knowledge, and it has a unique perspective, obviously, as the first African-American president. But I think it'll raise some eyebrows, and you'll probably have the White House respond.
Sure, I think many people wondering if it was only there that he would say it and not perhaps in a State of the Union or a more public address, if he's only doing this because he feels, cloaked in the podcast, that he felt safe to do it there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the venue. Yeah. So, but he is the president.
All right.
A very tough spot.
And what's wrong with that? He's having a conversation with Mark Maron. He feels comfortable, and he says the word. Who gives a fuck in the end?
Well, I imagine when Maron heard it, he was like, what the hell is going on around here?
Yeah.
But to say the podcast is salty, it's more than just salty language. Mark Maron has a way of getting people just to talk in a very comfortable manner.
They mess up his first name, then they say Marone.
Yeah.
Every Muslim name they get right. They don't just go Aqua. What is it? Whatever his name is.
Aqua.
They're just upset that the president went to do a podcast instead of going and doing their
to them that's cheap. And it's like, I can't believe he did that.
Right.
But he's done all those shows.
Right.
Like we were discussing before. I mean, this was an opportunity to have a real conversation, a long-form conversation. You can't do that on anything on TV.
But they're belittling everything because it's not traditional media, and these other guys are desperate to hold on to.
They're pissed off they're not getting the exclusive where Obama said the word on their network.
Right.
That's what this is all about.
Right.
What else do we got? Any other clips on this?
Yeah, there's another Fox clip.
Which one are we looking at?
This is the one with Deneen Borelli.
Oh, okay.
Criticizing and calling him.
Yeah. Let's play this. This was a good one. Media.
Racism, we are not cured of. And it's not just a matter of it not being polite to say in public. That's not the measure of whether racism still exists or not. It's not just a matter of overt discrimination. Societies don't overnight completely erase everything that happened 200 to 300 years prior.
Wow. That has a lot of people talking. President Obama making blunt remarks about our country's complex history with race. Too blunt or not? Basil Smikle Jr., president and founder of Basil Smikle Associates and contributor for The Hill, and Deneen Borelli, chief political correspondent for The Conservative Review and a Fox News contributor. And good morning.
Oh, good morning. Welcome aboard.
Touchy deal here. Was it necessary?
We're talking about the President of the United States using the N-word, Bill. He has really dragged in the gutter speak of rap music.
That's right.
He's the first president of rap, of street. I mean, come on. He has lowered the stature of the high office of the President of the United States.
Dope.
And the question is, why did he do this?
Did
you see all of the people coming together in the streets of Charleston, South Carolina, black, white, and otherwise, coming together, supporting each other, and here you have the president make this insane, crazy comment of using the N-word to really distract. This is all a distraction, distraction.
You know what it is? When you use that word in your hymn in that context, it's almost like you're making people confront a lot of the ugly racial history. Like, that is what it is. And, it's like people like that. We like to hide from stuff and pretend that it's like Don Lemon used the word sanitize. That's what we like to do. We like to sanitize things and clean things up and then remember them how we remember them, or say them in a word that's more palatable.
I thought we needed a conversation on race in this country.
Yeah.
Don't we say that all the time? We need a conversation on race?
Yeah.
All right, let's.
And it's like I say, a race to what?
Yes, Travis, you had something there.
I was going to say exactly what you just said.
The conversation on
everybody
race?
says we need to have an open, honest discussion.
Open and honest. That's right. You say that too.
And then Obama makes a really good point.
That's pretty open and honest.
Like a really good point, and it just blows my mind that people are actually thinking like that woman.
They're going to ignore
dragging it into the gutter.
Sorry, they're going to ignore the substance of what he was saying there on Mark Maron's podcast and focus on the fact that he said, "Nigger."
See, what people can't see right now is a very tempting hard-on in the front of Ope's jeans. That's why he doesn't say it a lot, 'cause it feels too good.
I really don't say it a lot. But, I mean, you know, that's what they're going to focus on. Oh, my God, the president said that word. Oh, my God. Well, how about, you know, discussing what he was talking about?
Yeah, that's the story. And then people wonder why politicians aren't more, you know, open and off the cuff.
Well, it's like, you're forgetting, too, that he is the president.
Good point.
Do we want to hear You want to hear her babble some more?
No, I'm done. I'm done with all these people.
You are?
Yes.
It's the same.
It's the same thing. They're just repeating
garbage.
He's an African American man who had to face racism, and he's the president. If he can't say the N-word, I mean, like, it's not like it's a white president who's just coming out and throwing the word around or whatever.
Yeah, this would be news if Jeb Bush texted it to Hillary and they both wrote LOL.
Right. Right, that is news. LOL.
I'm not a huge fan of Obama, but I kind of respect him for fucking saying the word on Mark Maron's podcast as they have an open conversation.
I wonder if Maron knew at that moment what he had. Like, or was he so caught up in the moment?
I'm sure he did when he's like, holy shit, he just said that.
Did you listen to the podcast yet?
No.
He was probably caught up in the moment. It sounded like he was going to pass out before he even got in there. Like he was in the zone.
You heard the podcast already? I don't know why I didn't listen.
Did Maron sound out of his mind?
Yeah, like you could hear how nervous he was before he came.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he said that his house was tented and like that. How awesome.
It's a really good podcast.
How long did he have him on for?
The whole podcast is about 1:07.
Right, but he wasn't.
He had him for a full hour.
Yeah.
Oh, he did have him on for
He
the
had
whole
Obama
hour.
for an hour, and I love that he couldn't get Keith Richards for more than 10 minutes on the phone.
He did a quick 5-minute intro
before he got there,
and then went into an hour with Obama.
Good for Mark Maron.
It's really good.
All right, I guess we're done with the clips on this.
I want to ask him when we see. I texted him congratulations, and he was very humble about it. But I really want to ask him, sit down with him and ask him about the approach. Like, what is that like when you hear the cars coming or the crackle of the radios? Like, that's got to be fucking. And he's coming to your house. Your fucking house.
And how long were they in his house beforehand? How many days ahead of time?
He said,
what did his neighbors think?
Right.
With the Secret Service
He
being
kind
around?
of brought that up in the beginning. He said that they were there while he was still in Hawaii, I guess, last week or 2 weeks ago, because they got to sweep his house and they have to put stuff in. He said that there was some stuff in his garage that he didn't even ask what it was, probably in case something happens and the president has to stay there. But yeah, I mean, he mentioned how the entire neighborhood's blocked off. There's people on the lawn with signs across the street, welcoming him. There's snipers on different neighbors' roofs.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Wait, you said something in there that I think horrified so many people. So you get the big get. The president's coming into your house. You're in Hawaii, and they go, look, we have to go through your house while you're in Hawaii.
He said his producer had to take care of a lot of that.
Could you imagine what Mark Maron's thinking in Hawaii? Oh, God, I hope they don't find that box in the back of that closet.
Right. Yeah, I know, right? He had some old DVDs and Blu-rays.
Wouldn't you freak out if you're somewhere far away and they're like, look, you can talk to the president, but they have to get in your apartment today.
I would actually just come back from Hawaii
immediately.
Yeah, but then I would come back from Hawaii, but they don't really care about your personal shit. I think they're looking for things that could endanger him. They go through it with bombs.
They went through with dogs and.
But just knowing somebody from the White House is going through your house while you're not there. That's horrifying.
Do you think they look through every drawer? I guess they do for guns and stuff.
They look for find some anal beads. A chick.
Do you know how many things they probably found in people's houses because they thought I'll put it in the back of the closet?
Yeah.
It's a fucking dildo, and you can see where the O-ring is, 9 inches down.
Well, again, when they were on Late Show, the whole audience had to be X-rayed, wanded. Staffers, as we came in, we all had to be patted down, and we were encouraged once we got into the studio. We were not supposed to leave.
Yeah.
So if Dave gave us notes, we had to make changes. We would have to tell Secret Service we have to run out and run back in just a matter of minutes. But they would still. They didn't care. You were wanded again and X-rayed. And
didn't they search your offices too?
They didn't search ours. They did search some of them.
The theater. Yeah,
they definitely did the theater. They didn't do the neighboring office building because it was connected, but it was two separate buildings. But again, there were snipers everywhere.
Well, we'll talk to Mark Maron eventually about this whole thing. I can't wait.
You must clean your house, just knowing, you don't want the president also to go in your house and think you live in a dump.
He said he tidied up his garage.
Yeah.
Moved some stuff into the main house.
Wow, man.
So
I
it
don't
didn't look like
know why I haven't listened to this thing.
Yeah,
yet.
Imagine if Obama came in and had to use the can immediately. Fucking the first thing he had to do was drop a deuce.
and he didn't have any toilet paper in there. He didn't have time to get it because he just got back from Hawaii, so he just had some napkins on the top of the bowl.
and you're a collector, Jimmy. The toilet doesn't flush. There's a presidential duty in there.
I got a picture of it. That's it.
You already have the answer.
Hold it up like you caught a fish.
Yeah, I'd probably pick it up and talk to it.
You say like, don't flush. I got to go too.
You wouldn't try to figure out if there's any way you could save it properly?
No.
Put it in lucite? Like
I want to put it in a bag. No, I want a picture with the president. I want to meet him. I don't want to shit in a bag.
Because we learned from Tippy Tom, though, eventually it petrifies and turns pretty much into a rock.
Yeah,
so
no.
Maybe throw it in the yard and let it dry out.
Would you flush it right away, or would you save it?
I'd take a picture and think of what I could do with it. But if I had just met him and everything, I wouldn't want to do anything stupid. I'd probably, it's like you just talk to him for an hour. I think Maron should have videotaped that. Maybe he did.
Maybe he wasn't allowed to, or maybe
sure
he did for
wasn't
something.
I don't see why they would care.
I don't know.
It was all. I mean, he's got a whole website with behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure that Obama wouldn't care if he videotaped it.
So is any of the Obama stuff on his website yet?
I think it's a totally different website. I think it's like Mark Meets Obama or Maron Meets Obama.
God,
it's a new website?
Yeah,
good for him.
No, he's had it forever.
That's a great, good, dumb question. 100% right.
Can I tell you one? Do we have time to tell you one vice president story?
Sure. It's about Spiro Agnew.
It is. So Spiro. So Al Gore was on the show, and he had just finished his segment, and then he wanted to use the bathroom, so they brought him downstairs to this bathroom that really the entire staff uses. They probably should have given him a better bathroom. And do you guys remember Larry Bud Melman? Used to be on the show? So he has since died and everything. And once Dave got to left NBC, he was not allowed to call him that. We called him by his real name, Calvert DeForest. So Calvert was on the show that night. NBC
intellectual property.
Intellectual property.
That nonsense.
We had to call him by his real name, Calvert DeForest.
They said don't use Larry Bud Melman?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't use
that shit happens
name.
all the time.
Yeah, there were other fights and things we couldn't use.
Fucking lawyers.
So Al Gore and his whole group of Secret Service, they're brought down to this one staff bathroom, and it's a one-person bathroom, and they open the door, and Calvert was on the bowl, and he forgot to lock the door, and he's an old man sitting on the toilet with his pants down. The vice president walks in, and he's screaming, "Occupied! Occupied!" and the vice president was just like, "It's okay," and it's kind of and it's a disgusting bathroom, and it kind of just closed the door, and the vice president sort of just said, we'll deal with it later, and just left the building.
He didn't get to go to the bathroom?
Did not get to go to the bathroom and humiliated an old man.
Oh, God.
That's a 2 for 2.
It is 2 for 2.
He couldn't release his duties.
Yeah. And Mark's picture, with him and Obama standing together, Obama's smiling happily.
Yeah.
And Maron just looks like he's not. Oh, there's a few of them outside. Okay, he's got a bunch of shots with
There's
him.
a couple there where he's almost smiling.
Yeah.
That's Mark Maron, though.
Yeah.
He ain't changing for nobody.
You can see the tent picture on that website too.
Where's the tent?
The tent.
Let's go to the website.
It's markmeetsobama.com.
That's a really
MARC.
Cool. I'm surprised that name wasn't taken. Oh shit, swim walk.
View photographs.
Oh wow, he's got a bunch of pictures. That's so cool. Who's that with him? The producer?
Yeah, Brendan McDonald. He was. Wow, look at the tenting. No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, tents all over his house.
Go to that one on the top right there. It's a picture of.
That's getting into the garage, right?
Getting into the garage. It's all like, what's there? Something on the. Oh, there's like these things.
They put up like these big like
barricades.
Yeah.
Basically, if you have a sniper, he's just got to guess.
Right. He
Where,
has to guess
where Obama might be in that tenting.
And that's where the limousine parks.
And there's several limousines. They all pull in.
There's a decoy.
There's decoys. There's like several ones that are walking, so you never know which car is his and who's getting in and out of the car.
That is amazing for Mark Maron.
I know, and it's
Good for him.
I've been to his house where it's just the house and just the garage right in the backyard.
Yeah.
That's it.
I haven't
driveway.
been to his place. I've done his podcast twice, but both times there's different locations.
There you go. All right, we should take a break. We got Jeff helicopters in the sky.
Yeah.
That is cool. Go to markmeetsobama.com for the pictures we're checking out right now. We got Jeff Ross joining the show next, and we should step aside quickly because we're a little late. So stay there. Jeff Ross in studio, our pal. It's been a while, Jeff.
Hi, buddy.
I don't think we've had you on since you shaved the head.
No, last summer, I guess.
Last summer.
Yeah. People take me more seriously this way.
Why'd you shave the head?
Variety of reasons. I did it the day after a breakup, which I didn't realize until Keith Robinson called me out at the cellar. He's like, "Oh, breakup haircut." I was like, "No, oh, maybe it is."
I remember that when you walked in, and Keith was not kind.
He gave you a beating. What a surprise that Keith Robinson would give you a beating if you changed your look a little bit. He kills you if you have the wrong shirt on.
I know, and I got him back. But you know what? I feel like
what was the breakup?
It was like a year ago, something like that.
Is there anybody you want to see less after a breakup than Keith Robinson?
I love Keith. He's fine.
How did the relationship go bad?
Show business. It's a lot of stress, and we just sort of grew apart. And
yeah.
Whose fault do you think it was?
We're just hers.
Yeah.
Usually is.
Yeah, I usually find that.
How long were you with her?
4 years.
Oh.
And she got hit by a bus. Never heard from her again.
It got off easy.
This is fun.
This is a great start, right?
Well, it's interesting.
Let's talk about Mark Maron for another 45 minutes.
Well, I mean, are you guys happy for him? Or?
Of course.
I'm happy
kidding.
for him,
I was
yeah.
just sitting in the green room listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm genuinely happy for him.
Jealous, if anything.
Yeah, that's what happens with you comics. You don't really like seeing other...
I was the first guest ever on his podcast.
For real?
Yeah. He didn't even have a podcast. It was a pilot for a podcast. And he called me, and I was in the Borgata in a bathroom, in a bathtub with my girlfriend at the time, and I did the first ever WTF.
I love that you picked up the phone while you're in a bathtub with your girlfriend.
I know, he needed it, and I did it, and it's a good one, actually. It was a long time ago already.
Did you use any salty language?
I did.
Fox says that he uses a lot of salty language on that podcast.
Oh, really? This is Obama curse? Oh, no, Mark Maron does.
Yes, in general. So, and that's why Obama did it, because, because Mark does that salty language.
Mark Maron and I both went to Boston University. We're a year apart, but...
Did you know him in college?
No, I didn't know him until afterwards. We worked in Boston together. I remember one time when I've told him this story, where we were at a condo working in Boston together, and I was emceeing and he was headlining, and we didn't know each other that well, but enough where he was so neurotic back then. I remember like 9 o'clock in the morning, the headliner gets the big bedroom, the opener gets the little bedroom, and I hear the door open really early in the morning, and he's like, I hear his feet kind of like walking across the floor. He knocks on my door. What? He peeks his head in the door. He goes, I'm funny, right?
Really?
I go, yeah, Mark, you're hilarious. You're hilarious. He goes, all right, go back to sleep.
That would have ruined my relationship with him forever.
It did.
I woke you up to ask you that.
Did he mean it, though? Or was
he meant it. We all meant it.
With you?
We were insecure. We were young, It was one of my first road gigs, one of maybe his first headlining gigs. And
he was panicking.
Now look at us, two BU guys having a big week.
Doing all right. Yeah, you got a great special that's out.
What a ballsy special, too.
No kidding.
What a ballsy thing to do,
He's doing
man.
the Johnny Cash thing. I was telling him outside the studio. No one has been able to pull off the whole Johnny Cash going to a prison and performing thing in a long time.
It was an intense experience. Really, really crazy.
So you decided to do a roast at a prison.
Yeah.
In front of, criminals.
Alleged criminals, because it's a county jail.
Okay.
So they're on trial mostly.
Okay.
Most of them have been in there many times before, so it's safe to call them criminals. But
how'd you get the idea to begin with?
I wanted to do something purposeful with my next special. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe I'll do something on crime in America, kind of like from a studio with friends, like a panel or something. And then it just became where I wanted to personify it somehow. It's funnier to make fun of people than a concept. So I said, why don't I just write an act about incarceration and then hone it? I did for like 6 months, 8 months, and then finally found a jail that would say yes.
A lot of jails said no.
Every jail said no.
What was the first one you tried?
We tried hundreds. Everyone in New York, New Jersey first, because I was supposed to be more relatable being here. And
what was the big one that you in your mind?
Rikers.
You wanted to go to Rikers and
I wanted to go to jail in Jersey or a prison in Rahway State Prison,
The biggies.
We got, flat nose from but, understandably, these are closed off places. Yeah. They don't need cameras and comedians poking around.
And then how do you get the permission from the...
Found one guy in Texas who had a vision that it could help him too, and that the inmates had to behave for a month in order to get access to the show. So he really had he incentivized the inmates.
Oh, so they knew that there was a show coming, and if they wanted to go, they had to be on good behavior.
Yeah, that's right.
Did they all know
cool.
who you were, the inmates? Like they knew you were going to
Not
roast
all
them
of
and all
them,
that
you know,
stuff?
but by the time we had posters up for a month, and they got the feel of it. It's not like they can look it up on YouTube or anything, but word spreads. And remember the first time I walked into one of the maximum security dorms, somebody just yelled, "It's the roast master!" And like guys just started coming out of their cells and looking over from the balconies, and slowly I started shaking hands and talking to people. I spent 4 days there.
Now, were you giving up on the dream before this guy from Texas came along?
That's a good question, buddy. I didn't give up. I was really
just knew somebody would grab
I kept
this.
saying to my producers, it just takes one. And we figured out that certain of these sheriffs in small towns have a lot of autonomy. And these county jails are also maximum security. So it would be just as intense, but also a little bit hopeful because they're getting out.
How many people were there in that place?
It's about 800 or 900,
All right.
probably. You know, we had to break it up into 3 shows because they don't want so many people in one room.
Oh, you taped 3 shows.
Uh-huh.
That's smart. Okay.
Yeah. We had to. There's no room there big enough for everybody, and I didn't want to leave people out who earned the right to see the show, and I also did a show for the women.
So you did 3 shows same day?
No, over 2 days.
Okay.
I did a show for the women and then 2 shows for the guys the next day.
How were the women?
They were amazing. They were really amazing. I never performed for all women or in a jail at that point, and they were very vulnerable. It was a little heartbreaking at times. They all have kids, and they, you know, they don't look necessarily like women you see every day. They haven't been talked to like as women in a long time. And I came at them like it was a nightclub. I just treated it all like I didn't want to know their crimes ahead of time. Some of it comes out during the conversations and during the speed roasting. I had everybody up on stage around me. And the whole thing's an adventure.
That's wild.
That's a really ballsy special to shoot.
Yeah.
To go there. What did you do for 4 days? The first day you were just kind of walking around, getting to know people?
I walked around. I had a dinner with the guards. They made me a barbecue dinner for my crew and I. It was already my second time. I went to visit. I went there and asked permission personally. I did that in a bunch of places. And so I got to know them then, and when I came back, I did that. I played basketball. I had lunch with the inmates. I played ball with them. Whatever they're allowed to do. I just sat and talked to them about why they were there and what regrets they have. And
were you filming all this?
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And
you got a documentary on your hands.
It's essentially a documentary.
Yeah.
You were never afraid at any point being there, having lunch with them or anything like that?
I was afraid the entire time.
You were?
Were you?
What
were you afraid of?
I'm still afraid.
Why
90% of them are getting out.
Oh. I'm going to look you up.
You kidding me?
What was your biggest fear?
Murder.
That someone just shank you?
Yeah, just somebody would be a big shot. But you know what? In the end, they were really good sports. They were super appreciative. And I think the ability to laugh at yourself, which is what I gave them an opportunity to do, made them feel good and kind of owning some of the mistakes they made. And obviously there's some real dirtbags in there who don't deserve a show, but there's also a lot of people in there who deserve a second chance, who are there for minor drug offenses, and they were desperate. And I can relate. I did a lot of dumb stuff in my life. Could have been me. So I don't know. I felt compassion.
That's wild. What were some of the bad crimes they were in for?
Murder.
There was murder.
Everything.
Were you making fun of a guy that committed murder? Because I haven't seen a special yet. Yeah.
There's one guy it was intense, man. There's white supremacists, Nazis, gang members.
Oh my God!
One little dude who killed a college professor at Texas A&M. He's on trial.
They're all at the show?
Yeah.
Were any of them not good sports?
The Nazis look a little pissed off in the beginning of the show, but eventually even they came around. Big swastika tattoos. It was so surreal for me.
So wait, you were actually doing your act too? It wasn't just roasting. Roasting was part of it, or was the whole?
I didn't have an act. I essentially wrote an act just for that show, not just about them, but also just about, essentially jumping off the point of that we're a free country, but we lock up more people than any other nation in the world. and kind of took it from there and tried to point out some of the hypocrisies of the criminal justice system and solitary confinement. And we're in Texas, the death penalty, and the fact that so many people are in jail for minor drug offenses. Also, a big point in the show is that in the 70s, hundreds of thousands of beds closed up at mental hospitals. And now all those crazy people that you used to put in hospitals are now in jail. Well, I met one guy who's been in jail 36 times. He goes there to sober up. He's crazy. And he goes there to get out of harm's way, basically. It's safer for him in jail. He gets 3 meals. He gets a bed. He lives under a bridge otherwise.
Yeah, there's logic behind that. I've heard over the years that a lot of guys will commit minor crimes right around winter time because it's, they know they're going to, be a bit warmer and get fed well. And then, when spring comes, they kind of almost figure it out that their time will be done and they're back out on the street.
Much smarter to commit a crime in Texas where it's nice and warm.
Well, yeah.
I mean to be homeless in Texas than to be homeless here.
Well, in some of these cold climates, that's absolutely what some of these guys do.
Yeah, I mean, it was
eye-opening.
It was. I'll never forget it. I mean, it was...
Because a lot of people, the other side of it would just go, fuck those people.
Right.
They would just say, fuck, why are you performing for them?
Normally I would, but the initial challenge was, it's kind of in a weird way, like visiting someone at a hospital or in a war zone. You want to make, as comedians, it's like a challenge to try to make someone laugh who's down in the dumps, who's really depressed. So creatively, it was also a challenge and kind of cool too, just to sort of walk in like slinging jokes and seeing what happens. And, not everything hits, but eventually you break them all down. And it was as an artist, it was cool.
So when do you walk on yourself? That you just, the time of the show is now, I'm just going to walk on and do it? Or how do you begin a show like that?
Each show had a different introduction. The show for the women, the jail administrator named Wayne Dickey, he brought me up. And that was cool. It was a very impromptu show. One of the guys showed, there was this reverend who performs on Christmas there. He plays clarinet, jazz clarinet, and he opened one show, and that was a little low energy. So on the second show, my cousin Ed Larson from Murder Fist, he's a sketch comic, sketch writer, performer here in New York. He just ran out there and he got these guys going crazy. He's real good at that. And so, yeah, you can see it's actually his voice on the special introducing me.
How were the crowds? So you did 3 shows. Were there one where you were like, oh man, this is, because it's obviously not a regular comedy crowd in a comedy club.
The women's show was amazing. I don't think I ever killed that hard anywhere, ever.
Really?
Maybe once for the Marines in Al-Assad, Iraq, who really were starved for anything. But these women, it was a surprise to all of us that I didn't even get a chance to do that show. They weren't sure if they'd be able to work it out. They're not used to having all different gangs and races and people in one room. They're used to having everything separated. So for everyone to be sharing a common experience was also good for the morale of the jail. And I think everybody was excited that something different was happening. And I also wasn't as prepared to shoot that show. So all the shots are like big wide shots of me and everyone. So you could just see everyone laughing in one shot. It's kind of beautiful. And then the guy shows were intense, man. They were really intense. They were great crowds.
Any fights break out or anything?
There were no fights that I know of.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. Everybody was on their best behavior. They didn't want to be, they had to earn the right to get into that show.
And what guaranteed your safety while you're up there? Did you have a guard nearby?
Not that close, and there's no guarantee.
No,
quite the opposite. They warned me quite adamantly that you have to keep your eyes open and that there's no guns inside, so they can't protect me in in that obvious way. Once you're inside the jail, even the jailers don't have guns.
They really pretty much, convicts can take over any jail at any time. They just don't because the consequences would be awful. But there's so many more of them than guards. You're always kind of at their mercy.
Yeah, and this is a particular jail where the guards sort of work inside the dormitory. They don't like call for help. The guards sort of have a big desk and they stay in there 24 hours a day. So there's a good rapport they have with the guards, and they're doing it right over there. I still got to see solitary and stuff like that, and that was, I thought, really intense and scary to see these rubber rooms and what it's really like, and people basically crap in a hole and stuff like that. And it was eye-opening, man. It really reminded me that I'm very lucky I never went to jail when I was selling weed and stuff like that, and I'm lucky that, I never did anything really stupid. Jail sucks.
Yeah. Did you have a backup plan in case things went off the rails?
I asked them that, and I was a little nervous about that. I asked if I could wear an orange jumpsuit out of solidarity, and they said no. And I said, why? And they said, well, if there's a riot, we need to be able to find you. And I said, I think you'll be able to hear me.
I hope you said that on stage. That's really funny.
And, yeah, the backup plan, I asked, we went through it. We had a security meeting, and then they get to the end of it, briefing me. And I realized that everything had to do with how to get guys out who misbehave. There was no plan to get me out. I was in it.
That takes balls, man. I'm just listening to you going, holy fuck.
After a year of trying, there was nothing going to stop me.
Yeah.
And I really tried to assimilate. I didn't want to just be like a carpetbagger coming in for a couple hours to do a show and videotape it for my show. I wanted to become part of the environment there. And not try to front like I was tough. Like I was nervous. It's really clear. When I invite everybody up to speed roast me, they surround me and you can hear me stuttering and stammering and shaking. And sometimes I'll think of the jokes, but you can see me like before I let it go, because you don't know what this guy's going to do.
Yeah.
But they went with it, man.
What happens if the shows didn't work out well? The crowds were terrible, all 3 shows. Would you still have released it, or would you say, shit, I can't even put this out?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question.
Because you don't know going in. You know it in a comedy club or theater, your crowd, you're going to kill. You're going to get it in 2 shows, no problem.
Right. It's a great question. I would have been fucked, I think. I don't know. I think I probably would have released it on some level anyway, because that would also be fascinating. Just seeing me like bomb in a prison.
Jail.
But your bombing could cause a riot.
The jokes were pretty charged,
about that.
too.
If they're bored and they're like, this guy stinks, they're going to get uptight, and they could absolutely start a major problem in front of you.
Yeah, I was at their mercy, and on some level, I've really tried to bond with them, but I was also tough on them. I made fun of them for doing dumb stuff, and it was very down the middle. It wasn't political at all. It was about the people, but I also talked about stuff that they can relate to. One of my opening jokes was, I said, a lot of you are in here locked up for possession of less marijuana than I have in my lungs right now. And they went fucking berserk. It was pandemonium a couple times, where you could actually see in the special the guards like sitting everybody back down in their seats. Like they were leaping out of their seats. It was insanity at some point.
That's a great line. Did you have any hecklers?
The whole show was constant.
They were just really.
Yeah, I was like a lion tamer, shutting people down.
And how do you deal
another.
with that? It's easy if you're at Caroline's, but
I deal with it all the time. I'm at Westbury. I'm sure I'll have plenty of maniacs.
Oh yeah, tomorrow night or
Thursday night.
Thursday at the NYCB Theater. It's
Long Island,
yeah, Westbury Music Fair. That's how we all know that damn place. It's a great venue.
Why did they change the name?
Probably because they get some money for sponsorship money. But Jeffrey Ross will be there Thursday. No, my point is you deal with hecklers all the time, but not in that setting. It's got to feel different.
Not hecklers who will fuck you in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. And make you pay.
You've never opened for Mario Cantone. There was that. It was definitely death-defying in that way, and then I had to. And as I watch it back, and I can watch it as an editor as opposed to the comic, I noticed that I did a few tricks that tried to really mark my territory. Like when you guys will relate to this as comedians, it's like. There's a one point where I say, whoever wants to come up to, I'm like halfway through my act. I've already talked about all sorts of issues on incarceration. I've made fun of the food. I've made fun of the guards. I've done it all. And I go, all right, who wants to get roasted? I don't care. Anybody who wants to come up. And like about a dozen guys basically surround me. And I just grab the scariest looking dude with a double teardrop and full tattoos. He's in the front row, so I know he's one of the more violent guys, because the most violent guys were sat in the front, because it was easier for the jail to get them out if they needed to. It had nothing to do with me. It was all
Obviously,
about,
it had nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
You
that
want
was a
them in the
big-
back row.
Right, but if they're in the back row, they have to go through the entire population to get those guys out if they start fighting or acting up. If they're in the front, they're near the door, near the stage.
But they're also closer to you. I get it.
The whole thing was insanely weird. And,
Wow.
And when I finally get this guy on stage and I look at him and he's so fucking scary looking. I look at him and I just don't even know where to start. The jokes that are in my head are so inappropriate that he could take my head, and he's first, so he hasn't seen everybody else get laughed at.
Yeah.
So instinctively, I put my hand on his shoulder like he was my best friend.
Yeah.
And he said something to me like, "Are you Jewish?" He's like, Spanish guy, Mexican guy, and I go, yeah, and I switch it right off him, and I go, but don't tell those Nazis up there. And I point to these Nazis in the balcony and start making fun of them. And I think they realized once I was willing to do that, I was willing to take any joke and just lay it out there.
Yeah.
So did you finally get him?
I did. He wound up Robert Regalado. You'll see it. There's some intense characters. They all have nicknames. All the nicknames are in the show. Big Mama Joe, 40. There's one guy's name is Insane, and he starts talking about his life and his kids, and then at the end of it, I go, okay, thanks, Insane. And without any irony at all, it's like, thanks, Insane. Appreciate it.
Where's this being shown? Comedy Central?
It's on Comedy Central. You can stream it on Comedy Central or pick it up on iTunes.
Are they the same versions?
Yeah, I think it might be.
I
think it might be dirtier on the Comedy Central website, but cheaper on iTunes.
I want dirtier, so I'm going Comedy Central. The phones are lit, Jeffrey. Jeff Ross in studio.
I love talking about this issue because, people don't realize it. There's this is what really set me off about this. 1 out of 100 Americans is in jail right now.
1%.
That's insane.
That is crazy.
There's more black guys in jail right now than were slaves in 1850. We have more jails and prisons than we do colleges and universities. This is a locked up country. It's scary. It's fucked up. That's our taxes. That's our lives. That's our neighbors.
Right.
What are these guys saying that, weed's legal in a lot of states now and stuff like that? They're like, shit, man, 5 years ago, I wouldn't be in jail at all.
I know. There's guys in Florida right now locked up for shooting a black person. That's become legal. Florida? No?
Let's go to Paul in Jersey. Jesus.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, what up?
Jeff, man, I heard a couple clips from your show, and wow, you got to tell these guys, like some of this other stuff you're saying to these neo-Nazis, it was the equation of even listening to you and knowing that you're okay. I got that, chill. Like when one of your friends says something very inappropriate, an area where you can get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I mean, there was one joke, you did something with the Holocaust, pointing out the guy's swastika, and some of the other things with the black guys and the neo-Nazis, man, just awesome job.
Hey, thanks, man. There's one shot of the Nazis, and this guy stands up, and his swastikas, he shows me on his chest during the middle of the stand-up show. Like, he's just sort of, showing it off. And the swastikas are straight up and down. They're supposed to be tilted. And I make that point that his swastikas should be tilted. And he's just so flustered and fucking mad at me.
Oh my God.
You pointed out that he was basically advocating for peace with his proper use of the Nazis.
We got a clip. I got to hear some of this. Thank you, Paul.
All right, take care, guys.
Let's go to the clip from the special.
Man, I want to try something crazy up here right now. If you think you have thick skin and you think you can take a joke, yeah, come up here, bud. All right? Want to come up here, buddy? Want to come up here? Come on up. This is the ugliest police lineup I've ever seen. You are adorable. What's your name?
Michael.
Michael? Where you from, Michael?
College Station.
College Station? Oh, are you a college student?
No.
No?
I got locked up before I can go to college.
You got locked up before you could go to college? Oh, yeah, that's what happened, sure. Like you were going to fucking Harvard and all of a sudden... You look like you're one of those rare people who looks like a child and a child molester at the same time. You look like a sweet guy, like you wouldn't hurt anybody. You're not a violent guy.
I don't know about that.
Oh, shit.
Next. Come here. How you doing, man? What's
Can you
your
pause
name?
this? I'm good. What did he? I have to. Do you know what he did?
No, I don't want to know.
You just moved on.
You know what? I purposely didn't want to know their crimes. I wanted to treat everybody the same.
Yeah. You're an audience member.
I didn't want to stigmatize them in that way. It wasn't why I was there to humiliate people.
I can only imagine what that guy did.
You know what? That's his thing.
Yeah.
I know a few of them because I had to look them up for certain reasons, for clearance issues. I had to take a couple people out that are in high-profile murder cases and stuff. So some of our footage has been subpoenaed and so on. Since then, I feel like I'm going to be dealing with this probably for the rest of my life because there was so many people, the legal issues. And you know what? Comedy Central had balls to even air this. You know, this is not their usual thing.
Sure,
not at all.
You know, when you look at the censorship notes and the legal notes on this show, they're really crazy. They're like, can we cut to the white supremacist one less time than we do? We don't want to promote. And, you know, normally when you do a special, it's like, can you remove that Burger King reference? That's one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, they're like, can you move this entire guy out of this? He killed someone, and we don't want his family calling, you know, complaining.
And bothering us.
Right.
Let's go back to the clip.
40.
40? Yeah. Come here. Why they call you 40? Why they call you? You're not under oath. You realize that, right?
Just a nickname. That's all. A nickname.
Yeah. What's your job when you get outside? You have a regular job? Or? Let's talk to Curious George over here.
My name's E.T.
Your name's E.T.? Oh. I thought you looked familiar. How old are you?
19.
Oh my goodness, man. Your breath is giving me the breath penalty right now. What's that? Do the walk? What's that mean, do the walk? What's the walk? Wait.
He bends all the way over backwards. He does the Exorcist walk.
Around the stage.
Wow. That was great. He walks on his like on his fucking hands and feet on the floor on his back like
cut off right there, but right at the end of that, I asked the sheriff is this a jail or a zoo?
Alex wants in. Jeff Ross in studio. Alex in San Antonio. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, good morning. Hey, appreciate it for having me on. Jeffrey, man, that was a fantastic show. I got to tell you, I watched that. I watched it a couple of times. Thought what was really neat is in between takes, you were also giving facts about the prison system and how it seems like prison is the biggest mental health institution today, which I thought was a very interesting fact. But really enjoyed it, man. You had really good facts out there. So, man, that was fantastic, brother.
Hey, thanks, man. I'm glad you learned something like I did along the way. I didn't try to be preachy or make it like an educational film, but as I learned stuff along the way, that comes out. You can't help but sort of go on this enlightening trip with me because it all informs the jokes too. So, yeah, man, there's a lot to just understand.
What was the number one thing you were blown away by in the end when you finally left this project?
Probably that there's so much like us. I talked to so many people that I felt like I could have been buddies with as a kid or whatever. I'd only seen scary jail movies and lockup shows, and you see drunk people on cops getting dragged into the jail, and you don't really see the human face of it all. You only see them at their worst. But here I met them as they've been institutionalized, once they've been sort of a little bit apologetic in a way, or had there's some redemption that they exerted, that they expressed to me, and that was interesting to see that people really do feel bad for what they did sometimes, and they just want to get home to their families, and even the scariest, most intense mofos in there really had a compassionate side, and the human thing of it all blew me away.
Anyone hand you any notes? to take with you.
Everybody was
for their loved
make
ones.
me famous, or talk to my lawyer. Or
Right.
I signed a lot of stuff for family.
I didn't know what I was signing.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. A lot of people were bullshitting me, I'm sure, about what they did. There's one lady who she's on stage with me in the women's show, and she claims that she's arrested for stealing baby formula. And I don't know if it's true. I call her out on it. And she sticks by her story, but the fact that some of these people are so they act out of desperation. Not everybody is a crook. Some of them have nothing else to do, and they're desperate for money or food or whatever. And there's a lot of poor people in America, and most of them people could get out of jail if they could make bond. Some of them only need $1,000 and stuff. Otherwise, they're just stuck in there. They have no one to turn to, and I thought that was really sad.
Man. Did a lot of the prisoners know who you were?
Yeah, they had a month notice. They had to behave for a month, so I guess.
But did they know who you were before they went in prison?
Some
like
of them
a fan.
Did. Some of the younger ones did. Some of them didn't, but that didn't matter. They figured it out. It was kind of cool. It was like any other gig. You have a few guys who are so hyped up. And you can see that in the show. And there's others who look like they're covering their face, they're embarrassed, they're not sure what they want. Then by the end of the show, they're all in it. You win them over like any other crowd.
Yeah.
It was like doing a corporate gig. You meet a few of the big shots and a big mouth and the guys who want attention, and then you make fun of them, and everybody kind of falls in the line.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it a jail or a zoo? Very funny.
That's a great line. Let's go to Steve in Manhattan. Steve.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Jeff, you did a great job. I watched it on that Saturday night it was on. It was terrific. I loved it.
Thanks.
Talk about that scene you had where you go to the shoe. That's what it was called, right? Because like the hole where you go in there.
The shoe is the solitary housing unit.
And to talk about on that drain, they had no toilet in there.
That was heartbreaking to see, how desperate those solitary cells are. It's just a little room, maybe the size of a little corner here, like a phone booth almost. Maybe 3 times bigger than a phone booth. And there's no bed, and there's no toilet, and there's no anything in there. You just go into this rubber room and lay there until you keep quiet, and you don't know how long you're going to be in there, and you don't have anyone to talk to, and you basically go insane. So it strikes me as like, well, we put people in jail to straighten them out and rehabilitate them, but in fact, they're going to come out crazy. And then we release them back into public, and that's our community. So the whole thing seems really like backwards to me.
In the end, what are you accomplishing by doing that?
Right.
Yeah.
So then they get crazier and crazier, and by the third time they come in, we forget about them like human dust. They just lock them up forever, and we pay the bill.
Right.
Right. They want to stay there. They want to come back because that's their lifestyle, pretty much, and they get used to it.
Some of them do. Some of them don't. Some of them want to be free, but they get crazy. Everyone's different. Every single person in there was very unique and different.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
Let me go to Carly in Louisiana. Carly.
Jeff, I just wanted to say this is a comedy special. And people will be watching for a long time. It was so good. But I've got a question.
Sure.
I was struck when I was watching by the difference between the black prisoners and the white prisoners. I don't think we understand people in prison at all. Do you?
I'm not sure your question.
I think she wants to say that the white guys in prison were worse behaved.
Yeah, the black guys were like, let's try to get along, and we're going to make the best of it. And the white guys are like, Heil Hitler.
Once I'm in there, and I'm like this anyway, everybody's a unique individual. I don't know. That's just happened to be what floated to the top of the edit, maybe. But I don't think the black guys were any different than the white guys. Maybe the Nazis got a little too much airtime, and that makes it seem that way. But
And that made Comedy Central nervous.
Yeah, it makes me nervous.
Well,
But
they're also the minority in jail, too. I think the white guys are more the minority. Like, there's a little less of them, so they have to be a bit more psychotic.
Not in Texas.
Okay.
It was pretty evenly white, black, and Hispanic. And, a couple of odd, like, Indian and Asian dudes floating around who are usually the most violent, weirdest guys, so they wouldn't survive in there.
Not many Asians.
Just one Asian in the show, and
he scared the hell out of you?
We had to even blur him and cut him out because he's a high-profile case down in Texas.
He's a naughty, naughty boy, huh?
He's a bad, bad man, and allegedly, and they asked us not to use him once I made a joke about. I didn't know at the time. I was sitting with a bunch of dudes, mostly just big white, what do they call them? The dirty white boys, white supremacy group, kind of aligned with the Nazis and neo-Nazis, and I said something like to the Asian dude who's just sitting at the end of the table, and they're all kind of deferring to him anyway, and he's like 19 years old. I was like, what's with this guy? And I'm like, what are you in here, hacking Sony? And they all crack up and go, yeah, hacking, operative word. And I'm like, oh, God, what is this about? And then the guy got real glib real fast about the death penalty and everything else, and it was chilling. And then you go look up what he did, and you go, geez.
Well, he hacked somebody up.
He killed a college professor and stabbed his wife. And
the professor's wife or his own wife?
His professor's wife.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, Jeff was hysterical. Jeff said to one of the Nazis, "You should be stabbed for every survivor of the Holocaust." It was so funny. It was great. It was amazing.
Thank you for watching it. I really appreciate it.
One more call from Trucker Bob in Nebraska. Trucker Bob.
Man, I got to say, that was fucking awesome, Mr. Ross. You got some cojones. Some of them dudes was big and sketchy looking.
You sound big and sketchy looking.
I was nervous for you, man. Some of them jokes.
Yeah,
it was great.
I feel like nothing really prepared me for that, and it's just like, and I'm like the kind of guy who's like afraid to jump into a lake because I'm going to get eaten by a shark. Like, I'm super paranoid.
Yeah.
But it was just bigger than me and bigger than them, and I just wanted to make it happen.
Where are you getting the criticism from? I would assume people are speaking out against you on going to a prison.
You know, there's a lot of people who think that I shouldn't give them any sympathy or compassion at all, and it's like anything else. You just shrug your shoulders and go, there'll be some haters. But when you see the show, I think that sort of dissipates. You see that it's not pandering in that way.
Right.
I'm not disrespectful to the guards. I understand how hard their job is. Being a jailer is really, really intense and depressing. I feel sad for the guys out in upstate New York who are dealing with chasing these two guys. And by the way, I empathize. We all want freedom. We understand what it's like to gnaw your way through a wall for freedom. Like, that's an American ideal. But yet I start to think about the jailers I met in Texas and the other jails I visited in doing research, and I go, these guys in upstate New York who are looking for these two guys, their whole job is to keep these guys locked up and alive. So when somebody either dies or escapes, it's so heartbreaking for them and so humiliating, and it really crushes their morale. I have a lot of sympathy for the people whose job it is to lock people up. It's a really hard one, man.
Do you want to make more documentaries after going down this road?
I'll do another special. I have a deal to do some more. I'm not sure what the subjects will be yet.
What are you thinking, sort of?
Cops.
More cops in general.
Yeah. I think it's something about the cops. The cops kind of need a little pat on the back and a little sort of, I don't know. I'd like to know what's going on with the cops right now.
Right. In what way? What venue?
It's an intense time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I truly feel they're getting a bad rap. There's bad cops, of course, but there's bad everythings.
It'd be like hating any nationality for what a few people did.
Yeah, I absolutely am with you on that.
And I always loved cops, so
the majority
once I was
of them,
old enough to get it, I have a lot of respect for cops, but yet there's so much messed up stuff going on. And, you know, when I see a cop, especially I was down at the May Day protest, the marches down in the Village, and I'll just walk around thanking cops for keeping the neighborhood safe during intense times. I mean, they have families too. Not all of them are bad guys. Some of them are, obviously, there's some...
Yeah, of course, there's bad cops. We all know that. But to make it the majority all of a sudden, that's just not fair.
Yeah.
These guys want to go home to their fucking families at the end of the day.
Sure.
They don't want to deal with this shit.
Right. So maybe I'll look at that. I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. That would definitely be
that'd be a great one.
Yeah.
Jeff, was there any jokes that you didn't do? Like you saw a guy, you were sizing him up, you're like, I can hit him with this, but I don't know if I want to go there.
I feel like everything that came to my head came out my mouth. Sometimes it's like stuttered out. It like falls out. It doesn't really like fly out. You know what that's like?
Yeah.
Yeah. And those clunkers, you know, there's a couple that I left in there, but for the most part, I just tried to put the home runs in the show.
Okay.
Did they boo you at any point?
Did they boo me at any point? You know what?
Just a nice big
I don't think
group
I got a boo. I think they didn't boo.
Yeah.
A couple times I'll do a joke and they just didn't get it, and I left a blank stare, you know, there, you know, and some of the reaction shots. But for the most part, they got it. They're more sophisticated than I anticipated. The show was weird because you had to work on two levels. It had to be funny to the stoners watching at home, and it had to be funny to the stoners watching in their jail cell. Right. So it worked on a couple different levels. And the hardest part, honestly, was writing all the material for months and months and honing it in the clubs that I work at all the time. Because, here I am, like working Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, doing jokes about minimum drug sentencing and solitary confinement, the death, and it's a buzzkill for anybody who's trying to get pussy on a date at a comedy club. I'm up there, slinging jokes about incarceration, knowing that this one audience on this one day at this one jail somewhere someday is going to get a big kick out of this.
Did the audiences coming in know you were going to be talking about something more specific?
No, they had no idea what I was going to do. Even the jailers didn't know.
No. I mean, when you were out working on
when you were working it.
Not until it got real close, because I didn't have a actual jail lined up.
Right.
So I felt like, worst comes to worst, I'll have to do this material in a theater for the general public if I don't get a spot. But I'd already invested so much time and money in visiting jails and writing jails. I remember on Christmas Eve that afternoon talking to a prisoners advocacy group of like 10 ex-cons giving me advice on how to talk to inmates. And I remember calling jails all through the holidays, and I wanted to go there on Christmas, New Year's. Everybody said yes, and then they'd say no. They'd back out. I went down to Sheriff Joe a couple times to that jail in Arizona, Tent City.
Sure.
He actually gave me permission and then reneged a couple of weeks out. So it was really getting discouraging.
Why did he renege? Did he give a reason?
He didn't give a reason, but I knew that he was under indictment for a bunch of stuff and probably didn't want the scrutiny. I knew he wanted the attention, but I don't think he could handle the scrutiny of me busting his balls.
Was there anything you said that everyone, how like some crowds, if you say something, they're like, oh, was there anything that they all objected to or no?
No, you know what? I really tried to rally them on my side. I started out doing it like a USO show. Just as I was about to go on stage, my producer, Stu Miller, he runs over to me and he, right in front of the warden, basically, he goes, when you walk out, make fun of the guards. And I was like, oh my God, this is the only ones protecting me in any way. And I did. I walked out and I brought one of the head guards, Courtney Waller. She's in the show. She's the quartermaster. She's a big shot there, and they all are really scared of her. But I'd gotten to know her over a few days, and she had my back, and she kind of got what I was about. So right at the top of the show, I go, Waller, come up here. And they all sit back. They're nervous because they don't know what she's going to say.
They're actually legitimately worried about her.
Right. And she walks up, and I sort of took her hand gently, and I said, Waller, just let everybody know it's okay to laugh. And she was very into the moment, and she said, it's important to laugh. Everybody have a good time. She ordered them to relax. And then I said, all right, I'll see you back at the hotel. It's just the easiest joke, but they went freaking berserk, these guys. It was complete and utter pandemonium.
And you didn't plan on doing that? It was just one of those moments that you said,
I just did a cheap shot, and I knew she'd laugh, or I hoped she'd laugh, and she did. And, this is the same woman that takes me around into these, into solitary, into the max. She basically pushes me through the door of the maximum security dorms, and so we had a real good rapport, and luckily she laughed, and she's still laughing about it.
Was anyone rude to her when you were out with her around?
They talked very curtly to her, she ordered the Nazis to put their shirts back on because they all had swastikas. They're not supposed to be walking around with no shirts on. My manager was with me, Amy, and we were walking to the dorm, and she was all covered up. She was wearing a big jacket and a hat, and definitely not trying to entice anybody.
Right.
We had a very small crew, but she was with me. She was brave, and there was a guy jerking off in his cell, and we saw him and caught him, and he got reprimanded. Waller went right over and busted him for that. So, there was a lot of creepy, weird stuff going on also.
You can almost understand that one, though. That's like you're starving and they're walking a fucking cooked turkey through the jail, and you get caught rubbing your stomach.
Rich Ross gave me a great joke that I used in the show. He said, I know some of you have been here a long time. Does anybody want to smell my finger?
Did they laugh?
Oh, it was great. It was great.
In the end, did you win over the Nazis?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think the Nazis are on my team, though.
All right. And what was the question? Oh, have you been back, or are you still in contact with that jail?
Yeah. They actually
watch it.
They watched it the same time it was on TV.
Wow,
they had a screening, not in one big room. I think they broke it up a little more. But yeah, I heard it played really well. I've talked to the jail administrator, Wayne Dickey, quite a few times. Said that morale was real high after I left. They had a tragedy there recently, which I think brings them all down. A very high-profile murder in the town, and then another guy was found dead in his cell. So there's a lot of sad stuff that happens. But for a few weeks there, they were feeling really good about the show, and maybe they'll invite me back one day. I don't know. I know that some of the older guys there, in the town, and might not have been so happy about some of the jokes I did, especially about, drug sentencing laws and stuff like that. So it's playing controversial down there in Texas. But I think, generally speaking, I think they're proud of their facility. They take law enforcement very seriously, almost as seriously as I take roasting. Mm-hmm. So they're proud of it. I think they're into it.
Well, you could do a Where Are They Now?
Yeah, right. That'd be good.
Where are they now?
They're already starting to show up. The inmates are starting to come out of jail, slowly, some of the minor offenders.
When did you actually tape?
January.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen any of them on the outside? Have any of them come to your show?
A couple of them have been showing up on my Facebook page and stuff like that.
Oh, boy.
And their friends who are spotting them in the show.
And saying, hey, this guy's now out?
Yeah. Or I'm out or whatever. Yeah, I'm getting all sorts of crazy mail.
I wonder in some way if you influence them. I wonder.
Think so. I mean, I gotta hope.
The guys that are out now going, wow, he made some good points in there.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we all slip up. We all do dumb stuff in our lives, and maybe this will dissuade. A lot of people are telling me they're watching the show with their teenagers, and it avoids a weird conversation, or it instigates a good conversation about not doing dumb stuff. You really, we're a product of our choices, and you get busted these days. Jail it's not a cartoon. It's not a movie. It's really, really scary. It's fucked up. You could go in there, and you don't go in there. Let's just say you sell weed and you get busted and you go to jail in some states. You don't come out like rehabilitated necessarily. You go in there, you start like propping up your crime, acting tougher than you really are, and eventually you're associating with criminals just to survive. And you come out a criminal. You owe people. You do dumb stuff while you're in there. It's like a rat's nest once you're in there. A lot of these places.
But what about the food?
The food was terrible.
Yeah, what'd you eat?
Fettuccine, a brownie.
So you ate what they ate?
Yeah, it was bad. It's one of the jokes I think I just riffing in the cafeteria. I said, I wouldn't feed this to my dog. Then again, my dog never shot anybody during an armed robbery.
Oh, my God.
I said, I didn't know orange is the new black refers to the fruit in the cafeteria.
God damn, that's funny,
Very
man.
funny.
It was crazy, man. I'm glad honestly, it was a rough process. It was a year of my life. It was a very depressing subject. It definitely had an effect on me, my moods, and dealing, basically writing about that. I'm so used to writing about easygoing stuff, making fun of celebrities or goofing on the crowd like I do, and then suddenly to be doing this heavier subject. I'm proud of it, but I'm really glad it's over. I mean, the cause will stay with me, but I'm glad that as a project, as a special, really glad it's done.
You can leave some of it behind, or a lot of it behind.
Would you do another special where you did that with cops, where you roasted cops?
I think that's what
that would be so you're talking about actually roasting. That'd be a very interesting follow-up.
That's what I'm thinking about.
That's funny.
I figured out exactly how I'd want to do it. It's got to really be about the people, not the politics of it all. But yet, it's really a shitty time in America about race. It'd be, a good referendum on a lot of important issues. And cops have a great sense of humor, so we'll see.
Yeah,
absolutely. Wow, Jeffrey Ross, holy shit.
This is fun, dude.
I can't wait to fucking see this.
Yeah, it's really, really ballsy.
Should have seen it before you got here. Man. I apologize ahead of time. But
now you want to see it. It's
absolutely.
Cool.
You turned me on to this. How do they see it? So they go online to iTunes?
You go to iTunes. It's actually the #1 show right now on iTunes. It's crazy. I never would have thought that.
Right.
And it's called Jeff Ross Roasts Criminals?
Live from Brazos County Jail.
Extended version now available at cc.com/direct. I'm going an extended version. Is that good for you?
Yeah.
Or you get more money if they go to iTunes? Doesn't matter.
Comedy Central. I'm an indentured servant. I don't care. As long as you see it, I don't care.
You see back end if it breaks $1 billion. There's never any back end.
Right. Recently defended Jerry Seinfeld's comments on comedy and PC culture while on Real Time with Bill Maher. I heard that went well.
Yeah.
Saying comedy is medicine. It's the best medicine. Laughter. You don't want it generic. You want it potent.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant statement.
Because, more and more at my live shows, I see people, it's almost like a movement. There's not a lot of places. I mean, we're on Sirius, and that's one of the last few safe havens to talk shit or say whatever you want. And a comedy show, a live stand-up show, is one of those few places. It really bugs me that people pressure comedians to water it down or temper themselves when, in fact, we should be pushing everyone to toughen up a little bit.
I expected them to do it to radio guys with the FCC and went through that struggle, obviously, and finally regular radio we had to give up on. But I swore to myself, I'm like, there's no way they'll ever do this to the comic. And to see it happening is amazing. It's just amazing to me.
We have to push back. People have to get better at taking a joke and laughing at the darkness of the world. You gotta ask the comedian. Life's too depressing. Come out to Westbury Thursday night.
Yes.
Have a laugh.
Have you felt it at all, Jeff? Just roasting people on stage, being like, people going, "Oh, you're too mean," all this stuff going on.
I don't feel it on stage because I feel like at this point my crowd,
knows
they
what
won't
to
be
expect when they come to
massive,
see
but
you.
they'll be loyal.
They know what they're in for.
You know what it's like. The theaters aren't full when I go out necessarily, but there are people who drove 2 hours because they can't get that everywhere. They're really loyal. I feel like my kind of comedy is almost like culty now, which I guess is cool.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's like, when I was a kid, I remember seeing the Ramones. They weren't going to be playing Madison Square
You saw
Garden.
them live?
A few times.
That's pretty cool, man.
That is real cool.
But, the people who were at those shows who were into punk rock or whatever, they had to get in. They had to be there. And I feel like my shows are becoming like that. People don't want it watered down. And if I don't go for it, they leave disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Bieber roast, which I feel like we annihilated that guy. He was almost crying. People will still go, "Hey, you took it easy on Bieber." I'm like, come on. Like, what do you want me to do? Punch the guy? It's a roast.
Kick him in the nuts.
Right.
Speaking of that, Martha Stewart, did she get high or not?
She didn't. I was goofing around.
Huh?
She didn't. She did shots with me and Kevin Hart.
Oh. All right.
I believe she might have gotten a contact high.
Because you said she got high, that you shotgunned. Are you now?
I was teasing her.
Are you now not You're helping her out. She really didn't get high.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm teasing her. I was teasing her when I said that.
Oh, okay. Because then she denied it and said
what actually happened was Snoop and I, and maybe a couple other comedians, were getting stoned during a commercial break at the roast, and Martha came over. So I might have turned around. I don't know what actually happened, and it's fine. She's cool that way. I definitely did a shot with her. That she won't do.
Oh, someone got a talking to.
No, I swear I didn't.
No.
As a matter of fact, she liked me so much she sent me sheets.
Did she really?
Yeah.
That's great. She wanted you to cut eye holes in them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was
okay, fair enough. But you guys got high during the commercial breaks.
Was it Snoop's weed or was it yours?
Snoop's. Always
How was his weed?
This is the one. Normally when I get high with Snoop, if I take more than one hit, I lose the ability to make fun of people. I'm just loving and hugging, and his stuff is so potent. And he's done this to me before where he's got me so high, I lost the ability to crack jokes. So I warned him, I'm like, Snoop, I gotta go. I hadn't gone on yet. I'm like, I gotta kill. He's like, you'll be all right. One hit. And then one little hit, and that was fine. It helped me relax a little bit.
Right.
And no one's going to tell Snoop to not smoke marijuana.
By the end of the show, he was smoking on stage.
Was he?
You could see him. You could see the smoke flying through the shots.
Who's that guy that's going to go, all right, I'm going out there and telling Snoop he can't be doing this?
Yeah, right. They're so open now in California about smoking. And for whatever reason, it's almost a prop for him. They let him get away with it. He really is a special guy. He's one of the few people I've ever really thought this about. If he wasn't a rapper or a musician or whatever he is, a personality, he would be a comedian. He has the timing and the wit He's funnier than me. I fully admit it. He'll crush me. He doesn't even have to have a better joke. His delivery, his style is undeniable.
He's just a very charismatic guy. Like he's very enjoyable to listen to. But when he's talking about something, I just enjoy listening to this person.
Yeah, there's something really magical about that dude. I hope he does all the roasts.
Very cool. This was great, man. I hope a lot of people go and see it at Westbury Music Fair. That's what I call it.
Yeah, Jeff
from Long Island.
This Thursday night, right?
I'm going to be speed roasting rich people from Long Island on stage.
Are you really?
If you're rich and fat and have a bad attitude, please come to my show Thursday at Westbury. I really want to roast you.
You're looking for Japs.
Is this your first time doing Westbury?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's it like over there?
It's great. A cool venue. It's in the round.
I'm in the round. It's fine.
Well, you're going to be in the round, though, with that moving stage.
I don't know. Are all the shows that way?
It I guess depends on how many tickets you sell, Jeff.
And then they turn it around. They swing it around.
I believe so, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
I saw Dice in the round with the moving stage and Bob Saget.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty psyched to do it. I love Long Island.
It really is a great venue.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those people in a few years now, but they're great over there. Really
So
nice.
if you're on your way to the Hamptons,
stop and see Jeff Ross this Thursday night.
Yeah.
Hey, what is it officially called for the people that don't know?
Theater at Westbury.
New York,
8:00
NYCB
show.
Theater at Westbury in Westbury, New York. Yeah, tickets still available.
Yeah.
But selling well, so please get your tickets for Jeff Ross this Thursday.
When you do a lot of corporates?
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with them. I would just bomb so miserably. And guys who really can be themselves and kill. So you'll just take the people, like the guy they're all afraid of and mock him.
I always try to take the boss down or somebody who's a big personality and even get them to introduce me, so then you already have a leg up. But I have to disagree with you, Jim. I know you a long time, so forgive me if I say the wrong thing, and you're an amazing comedian. If you took a little bit of your, like what you did on Red Eye last night, or a little bit of the way you prepare for a panel or for your radio show, and brought that to a corporate gig, you'd be undeniable. You would annihilate those people. You don't have to hit the way you hit in a stand-up nightclub theater situation. If you're just a little bit more conversational and do a little bit of research, you'd be the king of those corporate gigs, man.
Oh, thank you.
And the money's good, too, Jim.
Money's
That's
really
what I'm
good.
saying. You don't have to
It's
do
phenomenal,
it.
right?
Just show up, and I like it. I actually always liked it because, I studied film and political science, but yet I was always fascinated by like marketing and advertising and how companies work. And I was never really a businessman, but I love the idea of being a chameleon who goes into, basically becomes one of them. Kind of like I would do with the jail, just become one of them for a couple hours. I always go early, have dinner, get a lay of the land. Like, I like that challenge, any other gig, you got to promote it and this and that. You don't have to do that with a corporate gig. So I use that time instead to go early.
How much research do you do?
Depends what it is and how big a gig it is. But I do, I'll talk to them ahead of time. I'll have them send me information. Sometimes even tidbits about people.
Yeah, different guys. Guy broke his leg skiing, some shit like that, and you call him out.
Or whoever is a bad dresser, or whoever's like the class, company clown.
Yeah.
It's not even that I do it so on the nose. I even pretend I don't know. I know it all, and then pretend I go, so what's your story? And let him tell me. So it comes out in the moment.
Right. So it sounds like,
So it doesn't look like I've worked all night on this, like a research paper. It just kind of comes out like a party.
Hey, you hinted to it earlier. What was the closest you came to going to jail? What do you think? Were you
I've been to jail a couple times for real short periods of time.
Weekend stays?
Well, no, the one time, the one that jumps to mind on this would be interesting to you guys is I was opening for Red Johnny and the Round Guy long time ago, early in my stand-up career, and it was on Long Island, as a matter of fact. Oh, it all comes full circle. And guy in the front row at this college keeps flashing a gun. I'm MCing. And I didn't have any of the abilities I have now to deal with something like that. So I'm seeing it and I'm trying to ignore it and this and that and making me nervous. And apparently someone else saw it too from the crowd. And guy was heckling me relentlessly, but I didn't really call him out on the gun. And I get off stage and Red Johnny and the Round Guy, they were two white rapping comedy guys who I would write for. They had a show on MTV. They would crush.
Wow,
and I was like their writer and opening act for a couple years. John DiMaggio, who's the voice of Bender on Futurama, was Red Johnny. And after the show, this kid comes over to me, and I noticed there's like a lot of police suddenly around this venue, around this student center. And the guy shows me that it's a fake gun, and I laugh, and I take the gun, and I give Johnny a big hug, and I hold it up to his head as a joke. We're in a student center, 11 o'clock at night after a show. I didn't think anybody noticed it. And as I hold the gun up to his head, I go, "You're funny, motherfucker," make some joke. Within 10 seconds, I'm on the ground, cuffed with a gun to my head. So a cop, campus cop essentially, or they call the regular cops on Long Island. Turns out that the cop who drew his gun on me was already kicked out of the NYPD for being too much of a hothead, for drawing too quickly in New York. Now he's out on Long Island. Somehow he got another job, and they're taking me in, arresting me in front of all these students, and all the cops taking me in are laughing because now they're on overtime, and they're making fun of the guy who drew his gun on me for pulling out a toy gun, basically handcuffed me to a desk for about 4, 5, 6 hours. I can't remember. It was miserable. They finally let me go, and then my lawyer, Greg Giraldo, took me out to Long Island twice to finally spin circles around some local judge and got it dismissed.
Good old Greg Giraldo.
Giraldo represented. No, was he doing comedy then, or
he had 1 foot in comedy. He was basically an open micer.
Yeah.
And he had 1 foot in law still. He was a Harvard lawyer, and he still worked part-time as a lawyer. And as a favor to me, we were becoming friends. We were very early in our careers. He helped me out. I remember we stayed at his parents' house in the basement in Queens so that we'd be out in Long Island early, like to be at court at 8 in the morning.
What was the charge, though?
Inciting a riot.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
I went, without even...
They had to charge me for something.
That sink in. That's
and
ridiculous.
I didn't incite a riot. No one really saw what was happening, but they had to do something to protect this guy who drew too quickly. And, I did something stupid, too, I admit, and I admitted that. And
that's scary. The guy could have fired.
The guy could have killed me.
He could have fired.
What?
He could have fired.
What
the cop?
He could have...
Didn't the cop draw a gun on you?
Yeah.
You said...
Yeah, he could have... It could have been terrible.
He could easily shot. Wow, that's crazy.
I know.
I forgot how big those guys were, man. I can't believe that's 20 years ago.
It's probably
94 right now. I'm looking at a picture. The 1994 MTV Movie Awards this weekend. They're doing. Is there any video of that where they're doing like a promo?
I don't remember these guys to be completely.
Nah, you wouldn't have known them. They were more guys from the clubs. And they had.
But MTV though, 94, the Beach House.
Yeah,
I would watch that shit. I really don't remember them. Red Johnny the Round Guy.
Welcome to the MTV Beach House.
Oh my God!
Today is Friday. Getting towards the weekend, we're all very excited, and we're very excited this half hour because we have videos from Aerosmith, Gin Blossoms.
Yeah.
Tell them else what else we got, Johnny.
Well, coming up right now is a video from an artist who brought down the house last night at the Movie Awards. Here's John Mellencamp with Michelle Endigiacello. I got it.
You got to see their stand-up.
Oh my God!
This isn't it.
Just to hear them talking together is odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't what they really were good at. This was like forced. But when they did their stand-up, I don't care if it was, any of these guys or Dane or Chappelle or whatever. Red Johnny and the Round Guy went on last. Didn't matter
At Boston
who was
Comedy
on the show.
Club, they would go up there and murder.
What an abomination it was to follow those guys.
Yeah.
Really? Whatever happened to them? They're still performing?
They broke up.
You know what? I love those guys, and I would tell the story if they were both sitting here. They treated every gig like it was their last gig. Tim, I love him. Tim Regan. If they were giving out MTV baseball hats, he took 6. He knew that it was almost over. And it would infuriate Johnny so much that his partner was like that. And eventually, it was like a marriage. They had done it. They went as far as they were going to go. Tim Regan, I love him. He works in Connecticut, I believe, in a factory. Great guy. Wasn't really going to go for the long journey in show business.
Yeah.
And Johnny, they made a documentary about him. He does the voice for like 50 huge cartoons, including Futurama.
He's a great voice. So he was on Chicago Hope, right?
Yeah, he's been on some TV shows. He's a big, funny guy. So, one of the funniest comedy acts I ever saw. Red Johnny and the Round Guy.
Do we have? What's this a clip from?
I don't know. You want to just try it?
This is a Jon Stewart show on MTV.
We smoke the that gives us the red eye. Stuff to feel like Yoda in Return of the Jedi. That's all right, though.
These guys, you watch it now and you're like, all right, it's dated.
Yeah.
1994, doing rap stuff, but these guys would fucking murder.
Yeah, the whole room would shake.
Yeah.
That was already like later in their thing. Their first act, their first whole like 10-minute set, 20-minute set was insane.
There you go.
There's nothing worse than praising comedians from 20 years ago and then watching and going, oh, yeah, I forgot that was 20 years ago.
Inevitably. I mean, it's like that with anything. You watch, like, any classic... You watch an old Eddie Bruce thing, you're like, okay, I guess that would kill back then. And then you're like, sounds like it's reading a newspaper.
Yeah, I love what Lenny Bruce did for comedy, but I'm not blown away when I do go and listen to his stuff.
It is so strange. Longevity is such an interesting thing in this business. Like
slapstick is the stuff that lasts. It's not the stuff that's like the Stooges. A wrench to the fucking jaw is still funny.
Will always be funny.
But prior stuff, well, like younger people would listen to that and it doesn't resonate because they've heard so many guys copy it that it just sounds like, oh, it doesn't really mean as much.
Yeah, you got to remember they were the first to do it, so that makes a huge difference. Yeah, it's not watered down by a whole bunch of different versions of that act or that material. Stuff. Right? Yeah. All right, we're out. Jeff, this was a great hour, more than an hour. The Jeff Ross Roast Criminals live at Brazos County Jail. Extended version now available at cc.com/direct. I'm watching this tonight.
Love it. Let me know how you like it.
I absolutely will reach out to you. Real Jeffrey Ross on Twitter. And the Westbury gig Thursday night. It's the old Westbury Music Theater in the Round, whatever the hell they're calling it now.
Right. Westbury, Long Island.
Yeah, go and see Jeff Ross.
Thank you.
Fuck yeah.
Florentine, thank you so much. Florentine's going to be at Magoobies Thursday through Sunday?
Thursday through Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Baltimore.
Right outside of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a good club.
Everyone goes to Magoobies and performs.
I've heard of it.
And then Funny Bone in Omaha, Nebraska, July 23 through 26.
Great. And the podcast and everything else you get. The podcast.
Yeah.
And Jim Norton.
I got Houston and Dallas on sale Thursday. The pre-sale pre-sale's tomorrow, 10 a.m. Doing House of Blues August 21st, and then Dallas House of Blues August 22nd. The DVE Festival in Pittsburgh, I'm doing this Friday at Borgata, July 10, 11, Albuquerque, July 18th, and a whole shitload. I got Seattle, New York, Minneapolis, Detroit, and D.C. all coming up before the end of the year, as well as South Carolina. Why is that not listed in here? Ooh. The mystery deepens.
That's a controversial area right now, too. Yes, Kenny.
I feel like I could just make up some gigs right now.
There
and
it is. Thank you. Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'll be at the Magic Castle.
Sorry, I got the wrong state.
I'll be at the Stress Factory in 2 hours.
All right,
Thanks for having me. This is fun, you guys.
It was fun,
dude. See everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to take us out, Chip?
Yeah, just come back tomorrow for some laughter.
That's it?